Welcome in to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Let's get rock hard. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another episode of Rock Hard Ball. As always, I'm Carter. That's Weezy. Got kind of a flipped camera set up today, as Clyde is on suspension, so he's not here with us today. So we had to kind of improvise and change the setup a little bit, mostly so we could still watch Thursday night football. Yeah, so that's why we got the switch camera set up tonight. Maybe looks a little bit off to what you're used to seeing, but it'll work for tonight. Kind of threw together last minute there, so we'll run with it. Good show on the docket tonight. I can get the show rundown up here. There we go. Okay, so we got CFB Week 2 preview. We're not going to hit every game. That's just unnecessary. So we'll go through the ones, though, that we think that matter and we care about, and the ones that you guys probably care about, too. Give our thoughts on those. Then we'll move into the NFL Week 1 preview. Same thing. We'll discuss more in depth on the ones that are bigger, but we'll hit every game there because obviously it's first game of the season. Kind of give more a little bit of an outlook type thing, too, with teams' outlooks for the season. And then Rock Hard Bets, new segment. We kind of been doing it already, giving you some bets the last week or two.
I think our first show we did Rock Hard Bets, and we never did it again.
Yeah. So we're gonna bring that back. That'll be a consistent segment now going forward that we'll do every week. We'll keep you updated with our week to week, picks. How do we do after each week, and then we'll also keep a season tally running as well, so you can see how we've been performing. And then of course we'll wrap things up with Rock Hard Takes. I have Kelly's Kinky Rankings on there because we thought he was going to be here, but then we decided that he needed to be disciplined. So again, he's suspended, so he won't be here for Kelly's Kinky Rankings. So scratch that from the docket. But
did he upload them?
No, he didn't. Okay. So they're not here. But yeah, so we're just not gonna be able to do that.
I think it'd be fun if people watching can give us an idea, and we have to do it in the mind of Kelly.
Yeah,
that'd be a great segment.
Could be good. Could be good. Yeah. Not sure how active we'll be tonight in the comments with football going on. I'm sure a lot of people are tuning in there. But for those who are here, feel free to jump in, comment on the stuff that we're talking about. Let us know your thoughts as we go through the show on different things, or just comment bullshit like you guys like to do a lot of the time as well, because that also makes for a fun show. So yeah, that's what we got on the table. So that being said, first things first, let's start with some college football. We'll talk about the big matchups that we want to get into. You want to lead off with our teams, or do you want to save them for last?
I say save them for last.
All right. Let's start then with just we'll kind of go in random order here, based on how they kind of got uploaded into the StreamYard. So Iowa State and Iowa. I don't know why that says Rock Hard Takes. They probably all do. That's really unfortunate, but this is still Rock Hard Ball. I don't know why it says that. Anyways, Iowa State, Iowa. Big rivalry game. A lot of hatred between those two teams. Over under set at 35.5. So not expected to be a lot of points scored. But Iowa State, a team from the Big 12 that a lot of people are high on this year. Not necessarily expected to be quite a contender to win the conference, but a team that should win maybe 8 games and kind of be in the thick of a somewhat upper level bowl game, I guess, if that makes sense. And again, yeah, not quite in contention to win the conference. I think that's more reserved for your Utah, your Oklahoma State, your Kansas State. But I think they're probably maybe the next team after those guys. I mean, we got Arizona in there too.
They're for sure in that tier 2 category.
But yeah, they're right there. And then Iowa, of course, as we all know, they're Iowa, but they looked good in week 1. They scored some points, which they haven't been able to do for probably ever.
Iowa history.
Yeah, Iowa history. So if they can, do that against an Iowa State team, that should be better than, I think they played Illinois State last week. So obviously a tougher test this week. Iowa's favored by 3 points. Weez, what do you got happening in this one? Iowa's ranked 21 going into this game. So
I don't know. They're only favored by 3, which tells me that obviously Vegas doesn't think this team has an offense still. Which it'll be what that comes down to. Do you buy the no offense, or they do finally have an offense type of ideal?
No, I still think that it's probably not gonna be great. I mean, like McNamara looked good.
If he's healthy, he's serviceable.
He's serviceable, but I mean, at the same time, it's like we heard the talks about the scrimmage stuff in the offseason, and how bad he was then. So I mean, obviously Iowa's has a good defense.
I think a lot of has to do with the fact that Iowa does have a bad offensive. They don't have a lot of weapons, and they are facing Iowa defense every single day in practice. Yeah,
I think that is part of it. Is probably why he looked so bad. But at the same time, it's Iowa. Yes, they always have a very good defense, but it's not the best defense in the country. So there are going to be other defenses that are close to their level. So if he struggled that poorly against his own defense, where he probably knows somewhat kind of looks they're going to give him, that may be concerning, as he goes into these other games against power four defenses.
As far as the actual result, though, the fact that it's in Kinnick, I think I tend to lean probably Iowa, and I'd probably lean the points here too.
Yeah. I think Iowa should get the win as well. I don't know though. It's really hard to say. It's always tough. It's way tougher to pick games, like obviously in the early weeks of the season, because you really just don't know what these teams have, especially when they haven't played like real games yet. But again, Iowa State, a lot of people are high on them, so I wouldn't be shocked if they go in, knock them off. And rivalry games too, they're always close. Yeah. That plays a factor too. That always makes things tighter. People are amped up for the game. So, but yeah, I'll ride with you here. I think Iowa wins. Probably a good chance to cover the spread too. It's kind of tough to win by like 1 or 2 points. I think that's why most spreads are set at 3 to 7, because just winning by a score. But yeah, should be a good game to kind of kick things off there. Next one, let's talk about Boise State and Oregon. Another game that I think is pretty intriguing this weekend, because Oregon, obviously, a lot of people were disappointed with how they looked in week 1 there, as they barely beat Idaho, final score of 24-14. Boise State, on the other hand, a team that, might have a Heisman contender in how do you say his name? Genty?
I have no clue.
Yeah. Anyways, he went nuclear in week 1. He had 20 carries for 267 yards and 6 touchdowns. So Boise State already thought of as a team that might be a dark horse to be not even a dark horse, probably one of the favorites.
I think they're a top 3 favorite to be the representative in the football playoff.
Probably in that 12 slot.
Which, if your Oregon sucks, just given the way that Idaho game went, obviously people already look at you like, this would be the week to play Idaho again. Instead you have to deal with Boise State. The spread was 19, so it jumped all the way to 22 now.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I mean, again, it's so hard because how much do you really? I mean, I'm not going to take too much of like Oregon struggling in week 1, but still, like they did a little bit. They looked a little rusty, and like you said, like it would be great if they could come right back and get things going and against a lesser opponent week 2, but they play Boise State, who, yes, is a very real opponent. I think Boise State could keep it close maybe in the first half, but I think Oregon probably does eventually put them away, like by a somewhat
I don't know if they cover in this game.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But I'll be very curious too to see how again Genty, I don't know, Ashton Genty, whatever, how he does against Boise or Oregon too. Like a real solid defense. If he can put up a good game again, could be very interesting to see like how he could really be a real Heisman contender, like as a group of 5 player.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like it almost never happens. But,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting ahead of ourselves. But yeah, if he has a huge game here, obviously different story facing Oregon's defense. So yeah, I could agree with that. But again, I think that's all like we have to see what we truly have here.
Yeah, that and like I don't know what Boise State's schedule looks like for the rest of the year. Try and pull it up here. What else they have for like power opponents?
I'm sure
not much. I mean, they play Washington State and Oregon State, who aren't. I mean, they're still technically in the Pac-12, I think. But they're expected, I think, to go to like the Mountain West with Boise State eventually. So depending on what you think of those teams, maybe big games against them just dominates in the conference. I think it would take Boise State going undefeated, and like just running through their schedule on his back, and like he'd have to probably like break.
He'd probably have to put up 2,000.
Yeah, for sure, 2,000 plus. I think an absurd amount of touchdowns, and then I think he could garner some real consideration for it, but it's just not very.
If he does that, he'll definitely be a finalist.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Next one on the slate here, we got Tennessee at NC State. Huge matchup here for these two teams. Tennessee comes in ranked 14th in the country. NC State 24 still coming off of last week. NC State struggled a little bit there in the first half last week with Western Carolina. They eventually ended up putting them away pretty soundly in the second half, but a little bit of a struggle. And now you turn around this week, it's at home, but it's a Tennessee team that a lot of people are very high on. Other people are, I guess, probably mixed reviews. Some people don't think that they deserve the hype. Others think that they deserve respect as like a real playoff contender. Nico Leva, however you say it.
I just call him Llama.
Okay. Nico Lama.
Arguably the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
This is very, very spread. This opened at 4. It's all the way up to 10. So, which, a lot of people obviously don't buy NC State's last week. They don't think they're a very good team. I mean, I think Tennessee blows them out.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it at NC State. They have a great home field advantage. I think this is not a close game.
I think it'll be close-ish to the spread. Like, I think it could be like a 2-touchdown game. I think NC State's still good enough to keep it close. I mean, Grayson McCall is a good, experienced quarterback.
True.
It's not like they're, slouches. Because, I mean, same thing can go for them that we are using the exact argument for Oregon. It's like it was week 1. Like, they came out a little slow, but they got things going in the second half. So I still think NC State's probably a team that's going to be worthy of being ranked most of the year.
I just don't know
So-
if NC State has the offense though to put up the numbers I think Tennessee is going to put up.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair point. What's the over under on this
60
game?
and a half.
60 and a half. Yeah, I could see it. It feels. I'm trying to like think like a
Also,
relative
though,
score that
I said
that would
blowout.
rank.
I don't know what I would consider a blowout. I could easily see it being like a 3-score game though.
All right. Well, we'll differ by a touchdown or a score, I guess. I think it'll be 2-score. You think it'll be 3-score? We'll see what happens. But yeah, Tennessee, and I mean, further to the point, like even if Tennessee does, like you said, can maybe blow them out a little bit here, I still think NC State is a solid team. So this could be a big notch on Tennessee's resume, assuming that NC State goes on to have a solid rest of the year.
Yes.
You know, maybe they go 9-3 or something like that. They're in contention maybe for like an ACC title game berth. And if Tennessee, you know, pounds them on their own home field, it's going to be a big plus too when we come down to playoff resumes at the
Yeah, I still don't know like what to think about this Tennessee team. Obviously, you say it every single time.
I was lower
expanded
than most people
playoff.
when we came
I
into the year.
still don't know if they're going to be able to do enough this year to get in.
Yeah, because I mean, outside of like Nico, I mean the roster isn't especially talented, especially like compared to the SEC top dogs. And then even like with Nico too, like we're impressed with him, right, and everything, but still he's started 2 games, right, in his career.
Yes.
So
I think we would also agree on the fact that each of the big conferences is probably going to get 3 representatives going into the playoff, and you could like maybe one of them gets the 4th. And like I don't see a world where Tennessee wouldn't be the 4th finisher in the SEC. So, and then it's like, well, do they let a 4th in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By that.
I get what you're saying. Quick comment here that we'll discuss because Cass asked to. Said Justin Tucker washed. I missed it.
Yeah, I
guess,
got
but,
text messages about it. I
yeah,
don't
he missed
know.
a field goal. So
I'd like to. Do we know the yardage on that? If Cass, you want to help us out on that?
yeah, Cass, let us know what the yardage was.
Probably missed like a 66-yarder. So he's washed.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, yeah, I just went to his season stats. It won't show me the exact yardage, but it says he's 0 for 1 on 50+ yard field goals.
Okay.
So did we maybe just miss it? Like the kick one at the end of the half, maybe?
No, he made the chip shot. It was
Okay.
like 20 yards.
Okay. 51 yard at 53, 51. That's what we're getting here. So, all right, maybe he is washed. He is usually automatic. It seems like from anything like under 60, but probably not. So, let's see here. We'll leave Eric's comment for later when we get to the NFL previews. But we will discuss eventually. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, obviously, Justin Tucker's not washed, but felt like forever he was obviously the best kicker in the league. Is Harrison Butker officially like the best kicker in the league?
I think it's very, very close now.
I think he would be.
I don't know if he's officially passed or not. I mean, obviously, I think it helps that like his team's been so good because like he's just had more opportunities like make big kicks. It seems like, so he gets that a little bit clutching a little bit. Cass says that Tucker was actually 1 for 5 from 50+ last year.
Yeah, that's why I'm
really
saying he was not great from deep last year. He was
not realize that
he was not the Justin Tucker, which makes me think like that's why I think Harrison Butker is officially the best kicker in the NFL.
Casual move by me that maybe Harrison Butker is. Chance, nice to see you in here for the first time. Little throwback there, but we're right back at you. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in though. Good to see you. Let's move forward here to some of our other college games. What else we got? Let's talk about just a couple of other ones that are kind of note before we get into the last 2 that we want to talk about the most. Arkansas and Okie State, however you want to say it, Oklahoma State, could be a big matchup this weekend. It's at Oklahoma State, but they're favored by 7.5. It is not a crazy bet. Arkansas, SEC team. They've had up and down success. They're not expected to necessarily be a great team this year by any means, but I think they're probably expected to make a bowl game over in the SEC. So do you think Oklahoma State a little bit of tester at home or do you think they take care of business fairly easily?
Tester, but I do think they take care of business here. I think Ollie Gordon's way too good. He to me is like, I think it'll be tough for him not to be a finalist for Heisman because I think they're just going to give him the ball too much because I don't think Alan Bowman's a very good quarterback at all, and I don't think that's breaking news.
Yeah, Ollie Gordon will be driving him up and down the field behind the wheel, whether he's whether he's in the right mind,
whether he's boozed up or not, he's driving.
He's driving. But yeah,
fed him the ball 30 times last.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that Ollie Gordon, is he the favorite for the Heisman? I don't really know who the favorite for the Heisman is right now.
Right now, it's probably T-Mac at Arizona. just given the game.
But like
but season
that,
long,
I just
no.
like I don't think that's
Season
gonna
long,
be
no.
really. But like, if you had to guess right now who's gonna win the Heisman, who would you pick? I feel like we never really did this. Like,
yeah. Well, we picked our favorite at odds.
Yeah.
Like
that was like the first bet segment, actually. Yeah.
Yes, that was the first bet segment. That was also just like odds were a huge factor there. Gun to my head, this exact moment. If they win enough games, I think it's gonna be Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart. Okay. I don't know. I honestly have no idea who I would pick.
Who's the favorite? I'm gonna look up the favorite right now.
Like because I think if Carson Beck still has a good year, like he'll be right in the thick of it.
I would imagine he is the favorite.
Yeah, probably. And like Quinn Ewer, same thing. Like if Texas is a national title contender and he plays a really good year, he'll be in there. I mean,
so actually,
if Colorado wins 6 games or more, Travis Hunter might still win it because he is like the best non-quarterback in college football.
So this is crazy. There's a 3-way tie for first place right now. Give me all 3 names.
All 3 names.
Yes.
You're laughing.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you a hint. Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers are not in the top 3, which is shocking to me.
Okay. Is Jackson Dart one of them?
He is one of them.
Okay.
He's second technically.
Do they put a GT year in there, whatever, in there yet? No. Okay.
No.
Oh, you're laughing, so I wasn't sure.
One had a really good game, and they might be back.
Oh, Cam Ward.
Cam Ward's in there.
That's actually probably who my favorite would be right now.
Cam Ward. Okay.
Yeah, because I think if he leads Miami to the playoffs and he's like the driving force all season long, I think that's really big. Because again, it's like the Miami backstory, and then also like they're a good team, but their rosters aren't nearly as elite as like a Georgia or Texas.
Yeah,
so.
If they win 11 games and he does what he does, yes. I'll just give you the last name. He's technically at the top of the list, Dylan Gabriel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I mean, he almost threw 400 yards.
Yeah, he still had a really good game.
Travis Hunter is way down there.
Well, I think a lot of that's probably more like people just know Colorado's just not going to be good.
I also think it's positional value.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's like
he still does bring the most positional value outside of a quarterback.
Yes.
Because I mean, there is a real argument to be made that he's a top 5 wide receiver and corner in college football.
Yeah, he has the 10th highest odds right now.
Yeah,
and then I'm scrolling. I can't see Ollie Gordon.
Where's Shedeur at? I'm curious.
Shedeur is behind Cam Rising at plus 3,000.
Where does that rank like on the list? Is that like
you're gonna make me count?
Is that like, or okay, is it like outside top 10?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
It looks to be it's around 15th.
I like that though, because I do think that Travis Hunter is. I think that he should be more of a candidate for Heisman than Shedeur should.
Same way, I can't pronounce Arizona's quarterback's name either. How do you pronounce that?
Fafita or whatever?
Yeah. So they have him above T-Mac, which is I think flip-flop. Like Travis Hunter is above Shedeur. I think T-Mac makes him the better player. So,
yeah.
But I can't see him on the list. So
okay. Let's get into a couple of those games that are worth noting. K-State, K-State and Tulane. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I lost that. Again, big game for K-State, kind of similar to Oklahoma State, not quite as probably formidable as an opponent, but Tulane, obviously last year, and if we had the current rules, they would have made the playoff. But they, unfortunately were a year too early for that. They're not quite the same team, I don't think, as they were last year, but they're still expected to be, I think they're probably a top 5 contender for that group of 5 slot. Yep. So a real team, and it's at home for Tulane. Kansas State has to go on the road there. We talked about it, I think, way back when we did like our Big 12 preview. Kansas State's schedule this year isn't particularly like daunting. Like they have Arizona on the schedule, but that's at home. They have Oklahoma State on the schedule. That's at home. They have Kansas on the schedule. That's at home. And they don't play Utah.
Yep.
So their top 3 conference opponents, they all get at home, and they don't have to play, by most people's, standard, the best team in the conference. So that's a big break, but now they do have to go on to Tulane in the non-con play, and play, what maybe could be a frisky team this year. And they have to get the win. They're favored by 9. So obviously, Vegas, the public is still pretty confident that Kansas State goes in there, gets the job done. But I guess I'll just kind of ask you the same thing that like with Oklahoma State. Do you think that they get a little bit of a test here? Maybe even an upset potential?
I think this is upset potential. Avery Johnson was the guy, kind of pushed Will Howard out. He did not look good last week at all.
Going all those TikToks, all that dancing. Old school around here.
Obviously, going to New Orleans, going to Tulane. I think Tulane's a very good team. I don't know if K-State covering means that like it wasn't really a test, but I think this is going to be a test of a game. And you can get tickets for $4.
Ooh, make a little road trip down to New Orleans.
Yeah,
have a little Rock Hard Paul party.
I don't know your thoughts, but I could very easily see a Tulane upset here.
Yeah, I think very similar to you. It's going to be close, but I do think that Kansas State will still get it done. Again, a lot of this come back to just like program and like coaching. I have a lot of confidence in Chris Kleiman. Again, maybe it's a little bit of homer that he used to coach at NDSU, but I do have a lot of respect for the guy. I think he's a very good coach, and I think that he's the kind of coach where it's like he just yeah, screw off. That's ridiculous. But yes, I do think he's a good coach, and I don't think that he'll really let that kind of slip up happen, if that makes sense. Like it just seems like good coaches and good programs just don't lose the ones that they shouldn't. They might have close games, and yeah, obviously upsets are bound to happen eventually. But for the
good
most
coaches,
part,
they'll get it done.
Yeah, they'll get it done against teams that they should.
Doing tricks on it.
And Kansas State though, and then on the flip side though, I will say this: they have historically, and they still have in the Climate area, just seem like a program who like they do win the games that they should, but at the same time, they have a really tough time. I feel like beating teams that are like probably like on paper better than them. They just don't upset teams very often. It seems like so. All right,
it's like James Franklin.
Yeah, honestly, very, very, very similar. I think they'll win the ones that they should. They'll be a good team, but they just don't ever seem to quite be at that elite level. I think the last one I had two more, I guess, to kind of talk about before we get into our teams. Kansas and Illinois. Kansas is ranked right now. I think they're 22. Illinois obviously isn't, but it's at Illinois. Kansas State's only favored by 4.5. Obviously, Kansas has a very, good duo with Daniel and Neal in the backfield. They have a very good backfield there in Kansas. I guess they're 19 now. I think they were 22 last week. But then Illinois, Luke Altmaier had a good game last week. There's a Big Ten team, Bielema, fairly well respected coach. I feel like
he figures out a way to win.
Figures out a way to win.
He's a very good coach.
So I think again, same thing. Kansas, not exactly a contender, but a ranked team that is going to have a much tougher game, I think, this week than a lot of people probably realize.
100%. These are games that Illinois finds a way to win under him. That being said, though, I think Kansas is a little too much in terms of talent compared to Illinois. So I do like Kansas. I do like to cover here because it is only 4.
It is like perfect for Kansas or Illinois though too, because it's like at 6 p.m. on FS1, so it's like night games. So like maybe your crowd's there and like kind of into it, but the rest of the nation's watching Tennessee, NC State, and like Nebraska, Colorado. So like they're probably not really tuned in, and it's like we're gonna
one of those like you flash over we'll break. You're like, wow, it's 14-17.
Yeah, like Illinois. What's going on over here?
What's going on in Champaign?
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I do think that Kansas will probably get the job done. But I think it'll be probably a dogfight a little bit. I think Illinois is going to make it just a dirty game. Not dirty, but it'll be physical. It'll be tough-nosed football, hard-nosed football, and should be interesting at the very least. Finally, last one I wanted to mention here. Haven't really talked much ACC outside of that NC State game, but Georgia Tech, Syracuse are going to play this weekend. Georgia Tech, freshly ranked team, up to 24 in the polls. They'll be going in, or 23, going into Syracuse. They're favored by 3. Haynes King, and then what's the running back's name? Something Haynes, Jamal Haynes.
Yep.
Those two, again, similar to Kansas, electrifying backfield. Really fun to watch. They put the nation on notice a little bit, beating Florida State. Unfortunately, that win doesn't look very good now because Florida State might just be awful. But now they got another chance to go on the road, win a game. Again, Syracuse isn't supposed to be good by any means, but I mean, I feel like we said it with a lot of these teams. They feel like a team that should be right around 500, maybe make a bowl game. They have, Kyle McCord there, who played at Ohio State. He's played high-level football. He looked good in week 1 for Syracuse. So Georgia Tech, it's not obviously going to be, shock the nation or anything like that. Like, oh, Georgia Tech. But, if they go into Syracuse and put on a dominating performance, then people might start to take a little bit more notice and be like, hey, Georgia State, maybe they are, a little bit of a solid program, not just a complete one-off with like Florida State just being bad.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Syracuse wins this game, mainly because of Florida State this past Monday. I think Florida State is a very bad team. I like Syracuse. I think Kyle McCord's going to he's a very good quarterback for a team like Syracuse, so I think they get it done.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle McCord got a lot of hate in the offseason, and even we probably, maybe hated a little bit at times. But yeah, at Syracuse, way different story. Like he's in the ACC now, lower conference, a program that nobody has any expectations for. I think, yeah, he will have a good year there. He'll probably thrive. He'll put up some pretty solid stats. Numbers, yeah. But it's just, he just wasn't good enough for Ohio State to get to like a national title. And that's obviously what the goal is there every year. So I understand completely why Ohio State moved on, but I still don't think that Will Howard's like a bad quarterback. Like I still think, or Kyle McCord, like Nebraska was in the running for him for a while before Raiola flipped his commitment. And like I would have been happy with that. Like if Kyle McCord would have came to Nebraska, obviously Dylan Raiola is a way better option in hindsight. But if Kyle McCord would have came here for a year and like we had Danny Kaelin coming in still, because like Kaelin, he was a good prospect coming out of high school, but he wasn't ready to start like Raiola is. So that would have been perfect, I think. But so wish him the best.
I got shit for my take. I don't think Will Howard's like that big of an upgrade from Kyle McCord. I think Will Howard utilizes his legs a lot more, which I understand is very more serviceable in that offense, what Ohio State's trying to do. But in terms of like a guy to like throw the football to, obviously just receiver they've got 5 stars all over the field. I don't think Will Howard's that much better of a thrower than Kyle McCord.
Fair enough. Yeah. I don't really have a strong take on it. I still think that Will Howard's an upgrade, mostly for the reasons that you pointed out. But yeah, I don't think it's not like they went from it's not like it's not the upgrade that Nebraska made.
Yes,
like
I think the narrative
were leagues different.
I mean, it's probably the most drastic upgrade in college football.
Yeah, no, I'd say so.
Yes.
I don't know who did Miami have at quarterback last year?
I totally forget.
I don't know. Florida State, biggest downgrade.
Huge downgrade. Probably since another DJ.
yeah.
So, but no, I'm saying I think if Kyle McCord was still the quarterback at Ohio State, the narrative would not change one bit. That roster is so good. I think
still be the favorites in the Big Ten.
Still favorites in the Big Ten. Probably the second highest favorites to win the national championship. Like I don't think much would change there.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's when it also kind of makes you think like a little weird that he ends up at Syracuse.
His high school coaches there.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
okay.
I think he's.
Makes more sense.
I think he's offensive coordinator.
What do you think he had offers from any of the bigger schools?
Like, I'm almost positive.
I mean, Nebraska offered him, which is obviously they've been down, but it's good, big name
I'm
program.
A Michigan fan. I would have hoped we would have like been like, hey,
yeah,
you want revenge?
Stick it to him.
Those fan bases hate you. No, he for sure did. Like he's not just going to Syracuse just to go to Syracuse.
Yeah.
I don't know if his high school coach is the head coach, but he might be the quarterback's coach or the OC.
Okay,
so that's the connection there.
Alrighty. Okay, let's get into the 2 big matchups that we want to talk about and that most of the nation, I think, cares about this week. We have Michigan and Texas kicking it off in the morning, and then Colorado and Nebraska at night. I guess we'll just go in timeline order. Texas and Michigan. Let's talk about it. It's the second time the 2 teams have met in history. The only other time was the 2004 Rose Bowl. Yep. So it's a big game. It's 10 versus 3. Okay. 2004 season, sorry. But yeah, 3 versus 10. Michigan's on home turf. Texas coming in favored by 7.5. Got a couple of College Football 25 cover athletes in this game. One's a lot better than the other one. No, sorry, Weez, but
one's a Heisman candidate, the other's a backup running back.
Yeah, but I mean, it should be a good game. I think that 7.5 might be a little bit too much. I think again, same thing we've seen all offseason. People are disrespecting Michigan a little bit from last year. I know that they didn't look stellar in week 1, but I mean, like you put it out last week, Fresno State's no slouch of a program.
No.
So,
but I don't want to rant, but I might kind of
go ahead
because
it's your team, man.
Because we do the same shit. Obviously, we have like a low end podcast. We like to just talk sports. It's all over my TikTok.
Low end, my ass.
Okay, high end. We're in a great studio, but I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram Reels this whole week, and it's just small podcasts, not a lot of likes on it. Just young guys like us, like talking sports. I don't think a lot of them watch football. And that's like no disrespect. I get people hate Michigan. It's fair. They may have cheated. Don't know yet. They won the national championship. The amount of TikToks I've seen of these kids on podcasts, like one predicted the final score to be 52-7. Texas.
That's outrageous.
And it's like, you have to be so stupid to like watch football and be like, I think Texas puts up 52 on this offense. No. Could Texas cover the spread? Yes. Texas is favored, rightfully so. It's in Michigan. They have not lost in 23 straight home games. I would understand if they lose. That offense did not look good last year. To think, though, that this game is going to be just like an absolute bloodbath towards one way. Like the biggest bloodbath I could see is like Texas 17, Michigan 3. Maybe like 24-6. So I just don't get the narrative that Texas is like leaps and bounds above this Michigan team after 1 week. It doesn't make sense to me. Yes, Michigan has offense issues. It's going to be a close game.
No, it's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, Texas has arguably one of the best offensive lines in the country. Michigan has arguably the best defensive line in the country. Their interior D linemen are very good, and they have probably maybe the best defensive player in the country out on the edge.
I believe.
I mean,
so.
he's right there with the top guys. And like I heard earlier, like Texas has 4, I think, offensive line starters. This is their 3rd year all starting. 4 to the 5.
Yeah, they were like Michigan last year in terms of the O-line. It's an old bunch who've been there for a while and very physical and dominant.
So yeah, it'll be a dogfight in the trenches. A big key in this one could be, does Michigan's O-line, who we all thought was going to not really fall off, can they get back to form a little bit?
Yeah, if they can't, they're screwed.
Yeah. But at the same time, like you just said, I think Texas could win by 2 or maybe like a technical 3 scores, like by like 17 or something like that. Yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But like you laid it out perfectly. It'll be because Michigan can't score the ball. It's not even because Texas runs the score up, because they're just not gonna be able to score that much on Michigan's defense.
No,
like
I genuinely think Texas is going to really struggle running the football. Fresno State, I think all game ran for 6 yards last week. Like, you just can't run up the middle on those two guys. Like, Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham are too good. You can't run up the middle. If Texas can establish the run, it's going to be a different ball game. Then points can, start to come. But if it's just aired out all day long, it's like Texas is not going to be able to move the ball that well either.
Yeah, and I mean, Michigan, I mean, even on the outside and on the back end, it's not like obviously Texas is consistently, and once again this year, one of the faster teams in the country. But I mean, Xavier Worthy's gone; he's not there anymore. And Michigan is not like, we talk a lot about the D line, but like the secondary is still very solid too.
Obviously, you lost Rod Moore in the offseason.
Texas isn't going to run past them every time.
You still have an unbelievable safety in Makari Page. It doesn't make sense to me. I'll be my feelings if Michigan does lose this game, but I'm also not going in there like expecting it's like Michigan. We haven't lost a football game in over a year and a half. Like, I'm not worried about it. It's going to go in and win. No, I'm expecting to lose, but I think it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really have anything else to, say on that game.
Expecting to lose, they're not going to lose. Michigan money line.
Okay.
If you want to make money.
I want to make money. All right, let's get to the last one. The one that'll be taking place, I don't know, probably a 10-minute walk from where we're sitting right now in Memorial Stadium, Colorado at Nebraska. Very excited for this game. 6:30 p.m. Central Time on NBC and Peacock, and it should be a great matchup. We got Nebraska, who last week against UTEP looked good. Raiola looked good. Everything about the game really went well, I thought, for Nebraska. There wasn't any major errors that they just seem to make every single year. But this is a different ballgame this time. You have very, very high level elite talent coming in. Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter Jr.'s, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn Jr. Those two are speedsters, playmakers on the outside. They proved it there against NDSU. And then, of course, as much as we hate Shadur, and the entire country hates him, you still have to admit that he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. He's probably going to be a top 10 draft pick in the NFL next year. Still a very, very talented guy. The key to this game, obviously, for Nebraska, and I mean, really for both teams, but I think it's going to be more likely working in Nebraska's favor, is going to be the line of scrimmage. I mean, we just talked about it a little bit with, Texas and Michigan, but Nebraska, especially on the defensive line, I mean, Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmacher in particular, they're both experienced. They're both huge. They're both like 310, I think. Nash is 6'4", Ty is 6'6". They're both huge guys. Colorado's offensive line does not have the size to compete with them. I think they're going to blow up the middle all game long. I don't think Colorado's going to be able to hardly run the ball at all. I think Shadur's going to be forced to pass. I was listening to Joel Klatt a little bit earlier. I mean, he made a good point. Obviously, he's a Colorado guy. He's always a little bit biased towards him, but he made a good point about Colorado in terms of what they need to do to succeed. And that's like, Shadur has to pass the ball because they want to, and they want to be aggressive. He can't have to pass the ball. They're going to have to get some kind of run game going. Because, yes, obviously, Colorado's wide receivers over Nebraska's D-backs is probably their biggest positional advantage in the entire game. But if he's off, off center all game, like doesn't have time to throw, it could get ugly in a hurry. And I think that Nebraska, they're favored by 7. I would not be surprised if they are able to cover it. I know that I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself, but the more I look at the game, the more like convinced I am that like I'm not being crazy. Like, I think that Nebraska can win this game by like a couple scores.
So you went analytics there, brought down matchups. I'll just say it for you because I agree. I'm sick of like the same old Nebraska. It's going to be like they're going to find a way. I don't think this game's close. You said if Colorado can establish the run, they couldn't run for a half a yard against North Dakota State, have fun trying to go up against Nebraska. And it's not the same old Nebraska. Nebraska has a quarterback who just can sit in the pocket and sling that thing around the field. I don't think this game's close.
Yeah, that you make a great point. It is not the same Nebraska. It's not even close. Like we just said earlier, they had the biggest upgrade in the country at quarterback. And it's the most important position in football. Dylan Raiola he's really, really good. Like, again, I'm trying to temper expectations as much as I can, but it's really hard when he looks as good as he has. He says all the right things. All his teammates, his coaches, I know they're not going to obviously talk bad about him, but there's a difference between like voluntarily going out and raving about the guy, rather than like not talking about him until like somebody asks. Like he's had so many teammates. I mean, I can't remember who it was, but one of the linebackers was like don't. This might be a little far, but he's like, don't talk about Shadur and Dylan like at the same time. Like Dylan's a different guy. Like he's a dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, and like that just like fires you up. And I don't know. I'm excited. I know it was UTEP last week, but I think that he's gonna come out against Colorado. Obviously, Colorado's not some defensive powerhouse either, but it's a real Power 4 team.
I think don't turn over the ball, and Nebraska wins big.
Yeah,
big in terms of like, I mean, they're not going to win by 40, obviously.
No, but I think there's a very realistic chance that they win this game by like 2 touchdowns.
I could see like a 25-point game.
Yeah,
I don't that far. Also, last year,
the only reason I don't think that it gets
last year in Colorado, the hype there was ridiculous. Nebraska shot themselves in the foot all game long.
Oh, last year's game was so much closer than everybody seems to remember. Like I've seen all the Colorado fans on Twitter like talking about, oh, what happened last year? What happened last year? It's like, guys, it was like a 1-score game. I'm pretty sure something like that, maybe 10 points at halftime, and that was with the turnovers in the first half. Then Nebraska just continued to shoot themselves in the foot in the second half, and I mean, the defense just got worn out because they were just constant in the field because they just kept turning the ball over. Raio's not going to do that. He's not going to throw picks. He's not going to fumble the ball. He's going to make the right decisions. Even against UTEP, a team where like you feel like, yeah, you could probably just throw downfield just about every time and probably work out okay. He was still taking the checkdowns, making the right reads, stepping up in the pocket. That one play, everybody talks about the sidearm throw, how that looked. The more impressive thing I think about that play was the fact that he stepped up in the pocket, drew the linebacker in, and then he delivered the pass.
Yeah.
Like he just knows what he's doing, and he's a true freshman. It's ridiculous.
Also, last year it was in Colorado. This year it's 6:30 under the lights at Memorial. Like, it's going to be...
Memorial's going to be the loudest and the most ruckus that it's been since we've been in college.
The balloons are back.
This is our 4th year in school. It's not going to be close to anything else we've seen.
It truly, like, I don't think this is going to be a game.
Yeah.
And also, that should not have to be a crazy thing to say.
No.
Like, Nebraska was expected. I thought that they should have been preseason, maybe in that 25 to 24 range.
They got a couple votes.
I think them and Iowa are similar, not similar like team-wise, but like where I'd have them in terms of like
if I put them in a ranking.
If I put them in a ranking, I'd have Iowa and Nebraska neck and neck, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Iowa's ranked. Nebraska's not. Colorado went 4-8 last year. They're not a good football team. Again, they did the same shit we said. They won it against NDSU's a good opponent. Very close game. So, like, why?
Colorado also still can't tackle, and Nebraska has 4 very solid, very real running backs.
They can't tackle. They can't run the ball. So unless Shadur and that receiving core like goes for 500 yards, it's not going to be a close game.
And that is again,
it's not going to happen.
That's the only thing that I think stops Nebraska from winning this game. It's scary that yes, that's like a real possibility. It's not big, I don't think by any means, but it is. I mean, I will say I am lying to myself if I don't like say that I'm a little bit worried that yes, like Shadur and Travis Hunter, I think, again, going back to the Clash show, I think he said put on a cape. Like if those two put on capes and turn into superheroes and Travis Hunter catches 3 touchdowns again, goes for 160 yards, maybe gets a pick against Raiola, Shadur moves the pocket all game long, scrambling all over the place, making plays with his arm and his legs, then yeah, I could see maybe Colorado pulling it off. But like even then, I'd still think it would be a close game because I just don't think that they're going to be able to stop Nebraska on offense. I think Colorado's defense is going to get really worn out because I think Nebraska's drives are going to be methodical, kind of like NDSU. But at the same time, that's also why I don't think it get too out of hand, is because Colorado, like, yes, Nebraska's defense is better than NDSU's, like, absolutely, but they can still score fast, and like especially like it gets to garbage time, like a final score is probably going to tell a different story than what the actual game was.
This is going to be a really bad example, so it's going to be a toned down version of it, and by toned down I mean way turned down. This game to me has a feeling of going in the direction Oregon and Colorado went last year, just in the fact that Colorado went down early big. And like, I don't like you said, if like they have to throw the ball, I don't believe it. I don't like Shadur on the move a lot. Took a lot of boneheaded sacks. He's going to risk bad balls. So if they find themselves down early, that's where I think the blowout can come.
Yeah.
But if they, have a few big scores early, then yeah, we'll have a ball game.
That and the one other thing too, I'll say about like Colorado that works against them a little bit. And I wrote about this a little bit, like I'm writing the preview for this game. So I guess check that out too, collegefootballdogs.com tomorrow. But like we mentioned with the atmosphere, it is going to be nuts in that stadium. And Colorado has some of the pettiest players, specifically the D-back, the son of the head coach, Shiloh Sanders, is one of the biggest crybabies and the pettiest people on earth.
He's a straight headhunter too, by the way.
Yes, and that's what I'm getting to, is that he is so dirty and so petty. He's got, I don't know how many like unsportsmanlike and like late hit calls he's gotten in the last couple of years, but like it wasn't just this NDSU game, because obviously, yeah, a little bit of recency bias, but last year, I know he had multiple last year too. So, if Nebraska gets him a couple scores, he starts hearing the crowd talking to him. I would not be surprised if he loses his shit and like does something dumb, and that just makes things even worse for Colorado. So yeah, no, I'm getting fired up just talking about it. I'm super excited.
To be fair, though,
it's gonna be
I
a
love
great game.
Shiloh and the fact that he's going to talk shit from the jump to the end. Whether like
the
funniest clip ever last year was that Oregon game, like warm ups, and like he goes up to the Oregon's players like, "Oh, we gonna fuck y'all up today," and they got killed. So, but no, I mean, I guess we can wrap up the little rant that we just went on about that game. But
yeah, last thing I'll say, if Rilo goes big for a big game here, I think Nebraska is like back. Like if he carves up Colorado, like we can officially like make the statement right away. Like they'll be back.
I think so.
I know Colorado's not I know there's still nothing crazy, but I think if they win this game big and he looks like as good or better as he did against UTEP, I don't think there's any way in hell they'll lose until Ohio State.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit more.
I know you're more tempered than I am.
I'm the more of another really good game from him would be a very good, like, okay, like year one, we get him for 3, bearing he transfers, but that's like
I don't
all
think
hell would.
I mean, he decommitted from Ohio State and Georgia to come here. Why the hell would he leave then?
Yeah, that would have to be. And again, I hate saying this because like I don't want it to happen. That would be like if it's like something goes wrong this year and it's like another like maybe 6-6, 5-7 year, then it could happen. But that's not going to happen.
ESPN actually just dropped a really long. I read it at work today. Like very long feature piece
the
on
family ties.
Yeah,
I saw it. Did not read it.
Yeah, no, that was. I mean, that was a great article. Apologies, I don't remember who wrote it, but really well written. And it was really fun to like read and kind of go back and like because they talked a little bit about some of the behind the scenes stuff, and basically like he said like he like went to his dad and was like, I'm not sold on Georgia. Like, what would you think about like taking one more like visit to Nebraska, go taking a look? And like he called Matt Rule, and Matt Rule was like, seriously, like you like actually like want to come take another visit, maybe leave Georgia. Before he even got on the plane to come to the visit, he had told him like, yeah, I'm gonna come to Nebraska before he even actually came to the visit. So and it was just really cool to hear like he said that like the whole reason was I don't want to just go be another 5-star at Georgia, like another guy that gets pumped through the system. Sure, maybe I win a national championship there and just move on to the NFL, whatever. But it's like I go to Nebraska, like I can turn around a program and like turn around an entire state like for years.
And your junior year and I'm not going to say they're going to win a national championship. Like that's premature for anybody to say. But
yeah,
if that team is a national title contender by the time he leaves here, it's like there are very good chances never gets retired and there's a statue at someday.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, if it gets to that point, yeah, no question about it. Before we kind of wrap this up, I guess Eric said if Nebraska loses the Buffs by more than the Bison last week, Karter should have to move back to Fargo and transfer to NDSU is true love. Always have love for North Dakota and NDSU. I would like to like take this bet because like I am very, very confident that that's just not going to happen.
You don't want to do it.
I can't straight up like wager like my life on that.
You don't want to do premature stuff like that. You saw the controversy on Twitter with like
the eating dog shit of the solo
guy.
Cup? Yeah, that was
and
bad.
Then like deleted his whole account.
Yeah, Jack Mack from Barstool too has been like on the case. Like he got his phone number, texted him. He's like not letting him escape it. He said he has to eat dog shit.
Yeah, and then I forgot what his name is. I think he used to work at Barstool or something like that. He made some comment before about he'd cut his head off, and instead of that, nobody asked for it. He posted a video of him eating dog shit.
What?
He's like, so I mean, he's like, hey, Seminole like fan 1, 2, 3. I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm not going to cut my head off, but I don't eat. He ate dog shit on Twitter. It was disgusting.
That is insane. College football dogs. Again, we're part of college football dogs, but they said Nebraska sucks. Fight on. Let's cool it on the fight on thing. We already talked about that enough, probably in the week 1 recap, but I will reiterate: USC is not good. They are okay, but I still think there's a very real chance that, again, depending on how Riley looks the rest of the season, how Nebraska ends up playing out, that they go into USC and beat them towards the end of the year. Wouldn't be shocked me at all.
Wouldn't be shocked. They're very similar, I would say, team wise.
Yeah, no, I think they're both very good teams that are going to win probably 8, 9, maybe 10 games, depending on how things like Nebraska's schedule is obviously later than USC's, so maybe they have a better chance in terms of actual games won. But neither of these teams are competing for a national title.
Yes. Also, sorry, it keeps throwing me off because every single team, like, because obviously in everybody's head, it's like, yeah, this team could win 10. How many teams have we said, especially in the Big Ten this year, could win 10 games? Let's just rattle off on our hand, like Oregon, Ohio State.
In terms of
Penn
who I
State,
actually
Michigan, Nebraska, USC, Iowa. Like that's 7 teams that we've said could win 10, which obviously is not
I
going to
think
happen.
part of it helps though too. Like the schedule this year lines up in a because there's 18 teams now, so like some of these teams aren't going to play each other, which definitely helps. Like Oregon,
Penn State's the biggest example of it.
Yeah,
I don't think Penn State's a true playoff like level talented team. They just don't play anybody.
I think they're a top 12 team in the country. I still think they're a top 12 team in the country. I think you have a tough time grabbing 12 teams to say that they are without a doubt better than Penn State.
Maybe that's again buying that Drew Aller for some reason is good now. Sure, he looked fine week 1. He looked fine earlier in the year last year. No, if Penn State had Michigan's schedule, they would not. Nobody would like think like, oh, they're for sure like playoff locks like they do now.
Yeah,
Penn State in the playoffs right now, solely because of how
in terms of like what the actual resume and records end up being. Yeah, it's different with the schedules. I mean, even Michigan's schedule though isn't like brutal. I mean, they just have like a few really really hard games. Like after watching USC, like I've just had a complete like inverse of like everybody else. Everybody else watched USC in week 1 and was like, holy shit, they might win a national title. I watched USC week 1 and I was like, they might be even worse than I thought they were.
The whole Michigan thing throws me off a little bit because the schedule's not hard.
They play Texas, Oregon, and Ohio State. Other than that, though, I think all 9 of their games they should be favored in.
Okay, what team outside of Georgia is favored to win any of those 3? I don't think any. I think you just listed 3 of the top 4 teams in the country.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not like.
Do you like get where I'm coming from there, though?
I'm just saying
in a league where in like a new age where you probably have to win 10 games to want to get in. If you
also drop Penn State in the schedule, though, they're probably the same way. I think they're favored in the same 9 games, and they're also expected to lose those.
That's why I'm saying Penn State right now is everybody saying's a lock to go in because Penn State. But I think Penn State has 2 games that they could lose.
If Michigan one that they would loses those 3 games, I still think they get in.
I don't think they do.
I think if they play each of those close, and depending on how many real contenders we have from like the SEC too. Yes, like the ACC, ACC is only going to get 1 team in.
Michigan would have to like beat the shit out of USC for that to happen.
Yeah,
you beat the shit out of USC, and then you play Texas, Oregon, and Ohio State very close. Actually, no, I still don't think they do. I think you have to beat either Texas or Oregon at home. I think they can go 1-2 in those games, and then they're probably a lock to get in.
I think we're gonna get at least 1 9-3 team in.
Maybe that would scream though.
I think for most programs, you have to go, at least 10 wins. And then obviously there's other ones that'll need like 11. But I do think there's a select few that could win 9 games and still get in.
Yeah.
And I think Michigan is one of them in that scenario that we talked about.
It will be more than likely like the 4th team in one of the 2 conferences.
Yeah.
Though that will be the 9-win team. Or maybe like a group of 5 if all the group of 5 teams like aren't very good. Then like we can see like a 9-win group of 5 team get in, but I'm not really counting that. Doesn't really count.
I don't even think that's like possible.
It probably
there's like no because it's still like whoever's the highest ranked. There's just no way that they'll even. What would happen if like in a theoretical scenario,
win Boise State?
I was like in a theoretical like situation where like obviously the college football playoff like does their rankings and it's not like the AP where like you can see like votes received or anything like that. What if like in a theoretical like world there's not a single group of 5 team that like gets put in the top 25?
Yeah.
Because then how does that work?
Can we also just take like a spin zone? We've already gone maybe a little too far in college football. Like, do you like the rule of having a group of 5 like representative come in and play?
I
think it's really stupid.
I don't feel strongly either way about it. Like I think it's kind of fun because like we get one in every year and it just gives some team that like just you get a little national spotlight and whatever. It's a big boost for the program. So like I think it's just good for like those teams that have something to play towards because like basically like if you get in as that group of 5 team, that's basically like kind of crowning you as like the national champion of the group of 5.
Yes.
So I kind of like it. I like it for that factor a little bit, but at the same time, yes, it's like would I rather have if it comes down to it and like we're trying to get that last team and it's between Tennessee and whatever Penn State, like who's going to get that last playoff spot. And it's like, oop, Boise State, let me just sneak right past here. It's like, yeah. So
it's going to remind me of like early 2000s March Madness, like a 1 versus 16, where it's like nobody in the world thought it was even possible for a 6. It's going to remind me of that. It's a 5th seed. It's probably going to be Notre Dame every single year, but no, it's going to be a very good team every year. And we're going to roll out like a Tulane team and they're just going to get throttled.
But that one-off opportunity where we have a 2021 Cincinnati.
Let's do another little, like just hypothetical here. You're Vegas. I'm just going to lay out the teams. Boise State goes 11-1. They are the 12th seed. and they go to Notre Dame for that playoff game, because we're going to assume Notre Dame's going to get that 5. What's the line?
I think it's probably what was Oregon this week? I think it'll be probably pretty similar to that.
No. Oh, this week at Boise?
Yeah.
22-23.
I think it's 21.5. It's probably that, or maybe even a little wider. Because I think at that point of the year, Notre Dame's probably 12.
It's college football. We're going to watch regardless, but I don't really care to see a playoff game where the spread's in the 20s.
But again, like I said, in that one-off scenario where we get a 2021 Cincinnati, where I think Cincinnati, like, I think people looking back on it, like they were somewhat competitive in that game.
See, that's where I disagree. I think that score said it was a lot more competitive.
They competed a little bit.
They could not move the ball.
Yeah, but it wasn't like they went down.
Alabama versus Cincinnati, grown ass men on one side, and
they didn't immediately get just pounded though in like the first quarter.
Yeah,
like,
that was impressive.
They weren't just out of the game right away.
Compared to like Georgia, TCU was
so. And that's what I'm saying. Like in like that game too, it's like Alabama obviously was very, very good that year.
Yeah.
So like in this scenario where maybe it'll be different underneath Marcus Freeman, but like a Notre Dame who like in past years has gotten to the playoff and gotten just throttled. You know, if they have a team like that where it's like they went 12-0, but like, you know, played a lighter schedule, they got the 5 seed, and you have a group of 5 team like that, that's kind of a, you know, a 1 in every 10 years type of team, then maybe, you know, we get that Cinderella story where that 12 seed wins, and that'll be fun. Like,
yes,
it'll all be worth it for that. If that happens like once, that happens once every 5, 6, 7 years, it'll be worth it.
Especially if it's Notre Dame.
Yeah, that makes it even better.
That'd be so fun this year. Notre Dame goes 12-0. They host a home playoff game. Notre Dame's like back, and like Boise State just goes in and just rocks them.
Yeah, I kind of lost focus there because our
producer,
our dumbass suspended producer, still doesn't understand how the new playoff works and says Notre Dame 4 seed. Kelly, they cannot be the 4 seed. This is why you got suspended. So boo Kelly. Everybody still boo Clyde in the comments, please, even though he's not here. And he'll maybe get to come back next time, but I don't know. That might require an extra suspension for that comment. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we've been rambling a bit for college football. A lot of good talk there, though. Let's go to a 1-minute commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get into some NFL breakdown. We got a little under 4 minutes left here in Chiefs Ravens. Chiefs are up 20-10. Appear to still have Lamar and the Ravens numbers for now. But we'll see how that game ends up playing out here. We'll stay live probably until the end of that game, or at least close to it, as we start getting you ready for week 1 of the NFL, because it's finally back. I'm excited. So we'll get into it after this 1-minute break.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right, welcome back. Rock Hard Ball, once again, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Make sure you're always checking out collegefootballdogs.com. Game previews and wraps for every single Power 4 team each week. So make sure you're checking out those, and also, you know, bringing you the latest news. We've got like a full-time reporter now. Shout out to Chris Joseph. He's got a podcast too, Sports Bites. Check that out if you ever are bored and not listen to Rock Hard Ball. Go give that a listen as well. So yeah, we got a lot of good stuff going on there. And also, again, little self-plug here. Make sure you follow the socials there, scrolling across the bottom, either at Rock Hard Ball or Rock Hard Ball Pod on pretty much everything. So yeah, let's get into the NFL. That's next up on the docket. So we're going to run through pretty much every game. We'll talk about all of them and just kind of give you our thoughts for the game. And then also probably, since it's the first week of the season, we'll give a little bit of an outlook for each team as we go as well. Obviously, we already did Ravens Chiefs, and again, they're live right now, 20-10 on NBC and Peacock. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have that on the background as well. But we'll leave that for now. We'll probably go back and maybe talk about that game a little bit towards the end of the episode. But for now, let's just preview the ones that we still got coming up in front of us. First things first, Packers at Eagles. Once again, I don't know why that says Rock Hard Takes. My bad. Packers at Eagles preview. It's in Brazil, Sao Paulo, or however you say it.
Sao Paulo.
Hopefully none of the players get shot before the game. That would be a travesty. I think it was Eric or Howie. One of them was asking about like lining the players up in midfield for like an execution. That would not be good. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the game. Philly comes in as a 2-point favorite, which I mean, I can understand from a Vegas standpoint. Obviously, I mean, I've been very adamant about the fact that I am a Packers fan. I'm excited about the season. I think they're going to have a real chance to, possibly win the division. And if not, I think they'll still absolutely make the playoffs. Last episode, I caught some flack for saying that I think that Jordan Love is going to win the MVP. I still will stand by that take. I'm going to stand by it until the end of the season, unless he just, ends up being awful, I guess. Then, yeah, obviously I'll have to change my tune a little bit. But as of now, until he proves me otherwise, I still think that he has I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the NFL, but I think that based on the situation that he's in and the situation that the Packers are in, there's a very, very realistic chance that he puts up some big numbers this year, and the Packers could have a good year, which would, warrant more MVP consideration. As for the Eagles, I mean, they're coming back reloaded even better than last year too. They bring back pretty much everybody. They got a massive upgrade at running back. They bring in Saquon Barkley from a division rival, who should have a big year for them. They, added some playmakers on offense. They were the ones who got Jahan Dotson, right? From the Commanders. So they're bringing in another good, wide receiver 3 now behind AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I'm still not the biggest fan of Jalen Hurts. I don't think I ever will be. He just, I don't know. There's something about him that just doesn't really do it for me. He just doesn't seem to quite have as much talent. I don't trust him as much to go win a game.
Yes, I think
do with other guys.
I think he gets boosted up a lot because of fantasy football. If I'm being honest with you,
yes,
and the tush push.
The Eagles roster is very good too,
yes,
so that helps. Always
good.
does. But I still don't think he's like a borderline top 10 quarterback, but I don't think he's firmly in that conversation.
No, I don't think he's can win you Super Bowl by himself type of quarterback at all.
With his roster with the Eagles, yes,
he could. But I'm saying by himself, I don't think so. I still tend to lean Eagles in this game just because of how bad their season ended last year. I think they kind of come out with blood. Not saying I think the Eagles are a better team than the Packers. Not saying that at all. I actually am though very curious. Speaking of the tush push, is that as dominant or no? Because of Jason Kelce being retired.
Probably
you would have to imagine it takes a huge step back.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at the same time though, shout out Cam Jurgens, Nebraska alum, actually is who's moving over to center. He's been starting at guard since he was a rookie. I think this is probably his 3rd or 4th year now, or it's probably his 3rd year because he was still in college when we went to school. But he has been he's been one of the best guards actually in the league the past few years. So you never know. I mean, he played center all of college. He was one of the best offensive linemen in all of college football when he left. So maybe Jason Kelce though is a Hall of Famer. So I'm not going to compare him.
I mean,
to him.
He was the reason why that.
But yes,
him and Jalen Hurts.
It's definitely going to take a step back. But I still think that it can be effective at times.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. In terms of the game, though, did you see the headline that the Eagles are staying next to the stadium and the Packers are staying 2.5 hours away?
Did not see that.
Don't know. People were complaining about the NFL. I'm almost positive it's team decides on where you stay, but they said it's a 2.5 hour drive via traffic, which I don't think you want to drive through.
Counterpoint: the Eagles are probably right in the heart of the gang violence.
Yeah, and they say don't wear green.
Yeah,
and this is the match.
So the Eagles are wearing white and black. The Packers got permission to wear green, I guess. So they're wearing green jerseys.
Well, what the hell would they do? Wear yellow?
I don't know what they could wear those ugly ass throwbacks. I don't know. I kind of like them. They're ugly as hell, but they're still fun when they wear them, the blue, yellow, and brown ones. They could have wore those, but I think it was in the stadium. It's not technically awful. It's just they just it's more warning do not wear it outside the stadium, because I think that's the bigger problem. Is the gains, something about the rival gains, one of them is green or something like that. So
yes.
they'll shoot you if you're wearing green.
So that's you would think. Obviously, I would imagine there's a huge round table where they break down scheduling. We're gonna play in Brazil. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Who should we play in it? Eagles, Packers. Everybody's that's awesome. You don't think there's one kid maybe in the background who's guys, they're gonna shoot you if you wear the color green. Are we sure we want to do that?
No, it's it would just be
they will shoot you.
No, it'd just be awesome. I can't. I think I talked about it again like last week when we talked about DJU. I like the Moneyball scene where it's like, Billy, this is DJU. He's as fast as a running back and built like a linebacker. The only problem is that the forward pass was invented last century. It's kind of like reminds me again like in this it's like Billy, this is the Packers and the Eagles, two exciting young quarterbacks, high-powered offenses. The only problem is that you get shot if you're wearing green. It's like, let's do it. Let's bring him in.
Yeah, it's like a old Detroit like funny commercial that was like, if you want to come here, like we don't have hurricanes, stray bullets could be an issue. Like you might get shot. It's I like I don't if I'm a Packers fan, I'm not going to Brazil.
Yeah, no, I'm not going there. Absolutely not.
Honey, don't wear your Jordan Love jersey. Do you want a bullet?
Yeah, it is just absolutely wild that they did that. They're bringing those. Casted question from Winston: did the NFL bring their own security detail or they're relying on the local cops? I tried looking it up here as we kind of went. It looks like the Sao Paulo, like the actual city itself, is reportedly beefing up security more than they normally have around the stadium.
I would imagine it's.
And then the Eagles are gonna apparently deploying extra security. I don't see anything about the Packers doing that.
I would imagine it's like Sao Paulo's like National Guard.
Yeah,
like I don't think it would just be everyday cops.
Yeah, and then also the NFL like just straight up told the players like don't leave your hotel. So they're supposed to just stay in their hotels, go to the stadium, play the game, and then stay in their hotels and leave. So they're not supposed to like.
I don't
leave.
think it's that big of a deal.
They stay in their hotels.
Yeah, when did they get?
No, I don't.
When did they get there? Today?
I think they were.
I thought they were
both
flying.
Teams were flying yesterday. Yeah, so they probably got in like last night.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I can't imagine like yeah, obviously like it probably differs based on the player, but I can't imagine that teams will even like go out an absurd amount on game weeks anyways. Like you're playing a professional like sporting event, like you have to be in your hotel room.
Okay, so you can't go out to dinner with the team at like a nice restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's basically it. So
also you would think the NFL would be like, okay, London's a huge hit. Germany worked out really well. We've done a game in Mexico City. Like,
I mean, they're trying to expand the game, which I get, but
yeah, it's like let's go where crime's not an issue.
yeah, it's still kind of a weird decision. Eric said, "Is Rodgers my MVP plus 2,000 ticket the best investment I could make and worth liquidating my 401k to pile onto?" I'm gonna agree with
penalty fees.
Gonna agree with Cass here. No.
Yeah. I'm fine with the Rodgers MVP ticket. Pulling out of the 401ks, bull.
Huh?
I said pulling out some of the money in the 401k. I would not be doing that.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I don't know. Terry says, "What's up, guys? How are you? Doing well? Good to have you in here, Terry. Looks like we got a first-time listener there.
What up, Terry?
So good to have you." Says, "Go Bruins." Fortunately, the Bruins suck, so it's tough luck for you. They are in LA though, as we know. And then he also commenting on the Brazil stuff. 50 different gains that wear green. So that's 50 shades of green. I don't know if that's true or not.
I feel like that would be a really bold idea. You would think there would have to be some inner gang like talks. Like there's a lot of shades of color.
I think Goodell should just go power move and wear a green suit.
I just think if there's 50 different gangs with 50 different shades of green, and like maybe you wash it on hot heat for the first time, and then you dry it, the shade of green maybe comes out a little bit. Maybe you wash your whites with your colors. And then your own gang shoots you. I feel like there should be like an inner gang meeting to be like, hey, let's change up the color basis.
Yeah, we'll see. Eric says 10% pre-tax penalty for 100% return is always worse. I guess they don't teach math in Nebraska. They do teach math. They teach financial literacy. You're off on that one, unfortunately. They say UND is Harvard of the North, but I don't know if I'm buying it now with some of your takes, because I don't know if Rodgers is 100% guaranteed return there, but we'll see. This is unfortunate delusion here from Ter. That's just not going to happen. That might be like a 40-point game, I think, in favor of Nebraska. Might be a similar look to UTEP. So we'll see. And yes, 50 Shades of Green would be something that Kinky Clyde would be into. Could definitely see it. All right, probably enough time on Eagles Packers. We can move on to some of the other games that we got coming up. Let's get into just some of the Sunday games. First one up on the ticket here, we'll go Steelers and Falcons. Go start with the noon games, and we'll move our way forward. So again, it's kind of season outlook for these two teams. Falcons, obviously, big upgrade at quarterback this season. Kirk Cousins comes in for Desmond Ridder, who was obviously just an experiment that didn't work out too well. Kind of unfortunate, but I think he did he get? I think
think
he got cut again.
Yeah,
somewhere, right?
He'll probably tear up the CFL.
Yeah. So he's gone. Kirko's there. Big Kirko chains. Should be a huge upgrade. I think Drake London's going to go big this year. I think he'll be a very good player at receiver. I mean, he already was good, and like he had Desmond Ritter throwing him the ball. So I think Kirk coming in and helps him a lot. Obviously, Kyle Pitts has been there forever. We'll see if he can. Everybody kind of hates on him because of his fantasy production, but he's still been like a solid tight end for the Falcons. He just hasn't had the touchdown production that people probably would have liked. But he also hasn't had a quarterback.
It's just year after year hype.
Yeah. So yeah, they got some pieces there. Bijan obviously very, very good, not just fantasy, but he's an actual just serviceable running back as far as actual football goes. We're both very high on them. We think Raheem Morris is a good coach. I picked him to be the 3 seed just based on their own division. I think they can beat up on it a little bit. And I think it should be an exciting year for the Falcons. Steelers, on the other hand, complete mystery at quarterback. What's Russell Wilson going to be? If he's bad, do we see Justin Fields at some point? Obviously, Tomlin seems to always find a way to win games somehow, some way, and sneak into the playoffs at that last seed, and then just get stomped in the wild card. We'll see if that trend continues. I don't know. It'd be really kind of funny to see like Russell Wilson be like, "Oh, guys, I remember how to play football." Just back to as good as he was.
Okay, he was not that bad last year.
No, last year he actually wasn't too bad.
I feel like it's
the first year is never.
It's a joke out on the internet, and it should be. Russell Wilson is
he's just
easily
the corniest person of all time.
The easiest person to make fun of in this league, I would say. But yeah, he was not that bad last year. But then again, I don't know how good he would have to be for the Steelers to actually be considered a good team.
Yeah. No, I don't think he has to do much.
And then in terms of this game,
and Najee too, people make fun of him. He's still a decent running back. He doesn't have burst some you like from some of the top guys, but he's still a bruiser that's gonna pick up yardages. And then they got Jaylen Warren who can hit some of the home run plays.
I think Jaylen Warren's gonna
the backfield combined is a solid backfield still.
No, in terms of the actual game itself, I have a bet, but at the same time, it's more of I think new pieces for both teams. How do they look?
Yeah, no, I think this is a game that will probably be close, but I think that the Falcons probably end up pulling it out. So we're probably going to do it more later because I think we both have this game in our bets. Cardinals and Bills is the next one that we have. Bills, again, we talked about it a lot. They lost a lot of pieces. They brought in a couple new ones, but they're not quite replaceable compared to what they lost. However, I just continue to go back to the fact that Josh Allen's still on that team, and I mean, I don't know if I've ever really said it on the podcast before, but it's been a take that I've kind of stood behind for a few years now, is that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. But I think that when Josh Allen is on his absolute A game, he has more ability to purely individually influence a game than Patrick Mahomes does, just because he can do it with his legs, he can do it with his rocket launcher of an arm. So I think that when he's absolutely dialed in, taking care of the ball, taking care of himself, yes, I think he can influence the game in a lot of ways, and which is why he was my favorite pick in fantasy this year. In pretty much all my drafts, it feels like he slipped a little bit farther than maybe he did in probably most ADPs, which ESPN ADP is the worst, but still feel like he slipped to a good spot to me in 2 or 3 drafts. So I hope he has a big year for my fantasy team's sakes, and I think he will. Cardinals, another team that I am probably still higher on than a lot of people. Kyler Murray excites me. The whole team really.
Same thing with me. You took Josh in every single league. I have Kyler Murray in every single league. I think he's when healthy, because he's not been that healthy. He finally has target. Trey McBride, I think, is a top 3 tight end in this league. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a freak. He could easily be.
Do you think he's do you think he's top 10 wide receiver right away? Marvin Harrison Jr.
He's
close.
I think it's so tough to make that claim without actually seeing an NFL rep. Do you know?
Yeah, but that's the fun part.
That's the fun. Yeah.
Would you go out on that limb and be like, yeah, he might be? Because I could say the same thing for Caleb Williams. I think that people would not think for most times when a rookie quarterback comes in, if you said he might be borderline top 10 right away, they put you in an insane asylum. Caleb Williams, though, I don't think it's crazy.
Okay, so
he's still probably
that's different. Do I think that he could be a top 10 receiver, as in sheer talent, or are you talking production?
Kind of both combined. Yeah.
Okay. Talent wise, I think yes. I think he could be a top 10 receiver. I think he could be a nightmare for teams on the outside. Tall frame, can go up and grab everything. Do I think he could maybe put up top 10 numbers? I don't know. I don't know if
I actually wouldn't be shocked if he did because
I just think there's too many guys around the league who put up numbers who probably aren't as talented as him. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a more athletic freak like he is. He's not going to go up.
Well,
and make
athleticism
catches
and
deep ball.
talent aren't necessarily the same thing.
Yes.
Like Amon Ra is a very good route runner.
Yeah, I could see it though. I could see him being a top 10.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think should be an exciting game. Probably a close game, I think, here right away. Should be a bit of a dogfight. So we'll see what happens. Next one up, Titans and Bears. See if I can go all the way back to this comment that we had earlier from Eric. I said we'd get to it later. Will Levis better career than Caleb Williams due to bum ass Chicago franchise? You know what? I don't necessarily hope this happens to Caleb Williams. I hope it doesn't work in Chicago and like they just trade him somewhere else and he ends up being really good. But yes, I would absolutely love for Chicago to just continue to have absolute, horrible quarterback play and just never ever be able to, get there to that high level play of football. Unfortunately, though, I do think Caleb Williams is going to be really good. And I think the Bears are going to be, solid this year. I think we both said it. They're going to be right around 500. I think maybe a borderline playoff team. As for the Titans, I mean, we'll see what happens. They could be exciting. I think Will Levis showed a little bit of promise last year. They got D-Hop there, who's, old now. He's injured, I think, right now, too, to start the year. But, he's there still. Calvin Ridley's there. They got a couple pieces. They brought in Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. You never know. The Titans might be a little bit more interesting than people think. I think they're probably going to be one of the, lower.
I could see them win games, but I know
we'll
what you're saying. And then in terms of Chicago, I live near. Everybody around me is a Chicago fan. Most of my friends back home are Chicago fans. It's like I'm so split on that because, like, yeah, it would really suck if he's like really, really good, and like their team can like win the division every single year, good. But at the same time, as a team who like finally like got over the hump, like if I was the same old Lions fan who just lost every year, I would like to drag them down with me. If I'm not happy, you can't be happy. Now it's like I kind of hope he is good.
That's just where I differ because like the Lions, like I was for it. I was like, yeah, no, I'll live with the Lions like being good. They waited long enough; they can have their moment. The Bears, though, there's just too much.
Yeah, you're a Packers fan.
Yeah, I'm a Packers fan. Like just the hatred of the fan base, in general is one thing, and then it also like plays in like my family split household. We have Packers fans and Bears fans. It's like my dad, a couple of my brothers are Bears fans. I just don't want to hear from them, like because I just want to be the one to give it out. I don't want to take it.
Yeah, no.
Like so. No, I still hope the Bears are bad. Unfortunately, I don't think that necessarily will be. They can be okay. They can win like 9 games. They can get in the playoffs, and then they can lose first round. That'll be fine. I don't care as long as the Packers still beat them twice, and they don't actually have any real like tangible success. Then sure, have all the fun you want winning like 9 games. Fine by me.
Okay.
But yeah, next one up. Who do we got? Let's see. Patriots and Bengals. That's who we got next on the docket. Patriots. We'll start there because that's just like, I mean, we'll see what ends up happening there. But they're going to roll out Jacoby Brissett to start the year. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of special talent on that Patriots team. Maybe Drake May will come in at some point, look good. I think that's just the best case scenario for the Patriots this season is like maybe win like 4 games and like 3 of those games are won by Drake May and when he plays well. That's like their only hope, I think, this season because it's not just quarterback that's an uncertainty. Their whole roster is just not good.
No, it's a nightmare situation for them, but they deserve it.
Yeah,
no, they that good for 20 years. Like everybody's going to be happy when you lose.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be a year of Jacoby Brissett. I would imagine. I tend to believe that they won't go to Drake May this year because if it gets really ugly, I don't think they're going to throw him in there for it to get maybe even uglier.
Yeah, unless like he just continues to like outplay Brissett and like in practice all year long, and then eventually it's like let's like he's ready. Like if he's like legitimately ready, then put him out.
Yeah, and then for the Bengals, instead of just like being like okay, everybody's healthy, it's fun. There's just controversy for no reason. Jamar Chase, he does not know if he's going to play.
Yeah, he's finally back at practice.
He's finally back at practice, but now they're saying they still don't know if he's going to play.
Yeah.
He still is this year and then next year team option. I mean.
Next year makes sense. Next year makes sense because that's when you're supposed to do the deal.
Yeah,
but he is just being a little bit.
You're supposed to be the diva and be like, I need my money. Why are we doing this a week before the season?
I don't know. It's ridiculous. He needs to stop. The Bengals still an exciting team to me. We like you said, we haven't seen him fully healthy in a long time, and so yeah, it was supposed to be the year that they could maybe finally come back, make a statement, maybe make another run at the Super Bowl, and now we got this bullshit going on for them. So we'll see what happens with the Jamar Chase situation. I still have to assume that he gets out there and plays, whether
Yeah,
it's
he's
they
gonna
give him a
pull up.
contract or he just, you know, it's
I
like,
think it's more
whatever.
of okay, regular season. You're a real shitty teammate if you don't go out.
Yeah,
and suit up.
You had to go out there. Joe Burrow will lay down the law, let him know what's up. But I think the Bengals will just wipe the floor with the Patriots in this. So
Bengals by a lot.
All right. Texans and Colts. Two teams that are very exciting. Texans obviously got CJ Stroud, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Exciting offense. They also brought in Joe Mixon too. I think he kind of gets forgotten in terms of what they added to that offense this season. And then defense, of course, too. You got Will Anderson Jr., the reigning defensive rookie of the year. Outside of that, I mean, not a whole lot of stellar pieces on the defensive side of the ball. Do they have a corner that's
I forgot
good?
Stingley.
Yes, Derek Stingley.
Yep.
Yeah, Derek Stingley. He's an exciting young piece too. But obviously, most of the attention's on the offense. It's gonna be good. Gonna be electric. They're gonna win a lot of games. Colts, though, too. This is a little bit of a test, I think, for the Texans right away.
Yes.
Anthony Richardson looked really, really good in his limited action last year. But yes, stay healthy. But he's a little bit of a one-man wrecking crew, but he has to protect himself from that one.
He has to stay healthy. Jonathan Taylor needs to stay healthy.
Yes.
If Jonathan Taylor stays healthy, I think he finishes like an RB3, top RB3.
He's like the same thing, like at the running back position, is like kind of like what Burrow is like at quarterback. It's like, did we all forget how good he is?
Yeah.
Like I get running backs can fall off fast, but it's like Jonathan Taylor is still a really good running back.
Very young. Like I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like whenever I hear his name, I think
I think
28. He's been there for a little bit. It's like
it's still that stigma, I think, too, of like in college. Like he had a lot of carries in college. It's like, okay, so does every other running back.
I also think it hurts you when you are like ridiculously good that rookie year, like he was and like Saquon was. Where like Saquon these past 2 years, you're like, is he what? No, they're still really young. You saw them dominate 3 years ago.
Saquon rushed for like 1,400 yards last year, I think.
Yeah, but I guess that's what happens when you play for New York.
Like 12,
people don't really think much of you, but
Kansas City's up 27-17. By the way, we just kind of both
Xavier
off there.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy. I was side-eyeing Xavier Worthy with his second touchdown.
Great. That makes me love my Rishi Rice pick. All right. Okay, yeah. But yeah, that should be a good game. Exciting game between two young teams. I'm really excited to watch Anthony Richardson. If Sam was in here tonight, I'm sure he's probably locked in on the game, but he'd be in here slobbing for AR-15. So all right, let's see what's up next year. Another fun, what should be a fun game. We got Jaguars and Dolphins. I don't know if I can find that little. There you go. Jags Dolphins. Again, two quarterbacks from the same draft class that'll always probably be compared a little bit. I feel like Tua and Herbert will always be more compared than Lawrence and the other two will. Yep. But still, two guys from the same draft class, right? They were the same draft class. No, he was Burrows.
Yes.
My bad. Okay.
Wait, who?
Tua. Tua's and Burrows.
Yeah, Tua's and Burrows.
Yeah, my bad. Anyways, still came out relatively same time. Both were competing in college. That's for sure.
Yes.
Some of those, Clemson, Alabama matchups. But anyways, Trevor Lawrence, he's shown flashes for years. Is this finally the year that he can, kind of get to that spot? Last year, the Jaguars were everybody's darlings that were supposed to, go win like 13 or 14 games. Just didn't pan out that way for them. Dolphins obviously started the year very hot. Tua looked like the MVP. Tyreek Hill was just running past everybody. And then when he couldn't run past everybody, Jalen Waddle would run past everybody. Jalen Waddle couldn't run past everybody. Then either Raheem Mostert or Devon Achane would run past everybody. Ridiculous. There's speed all over the place.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, can Tua, stay healthy? Can you put the ball in the right places? And can they just beat opponents that might have better talent than them or win a game in cold weather? Can they go on the road and win late? It's all questions that the Dolphins are just going to have to answer this year. And obviously, we're not going to get these answers here.
Yeah, no, and I don't
Miami,
know if they can.
But
this game fascinates me, but at the same time, it really doesn't. Like, I'm not high on either of these teams for, reasons that you just said. Okay, Miami, they can beat up on inferior teams. They've done it for the past years under Mike McDaniel. And then Jaguars, okay, I need to really see something this year from T-Law.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Like, we've kind of put the car seat around them, but not this is the year. Obviously, you still don't have unbelievable talent, but you have talent. Like, this is the year you got to win.
Mm-hmm. All right, next game on the docket. This one's going to be pretty brief because this is just not super exciting. Panthers Saints.
Next two.
The big thing here is just, Bryce Young. Everybody forgets about Bryce Young. I feel like we just don't talk about him at all. And yes, it's because CJ Stroud was unbelievable as a rookie, and now everybody wants to talk about him. The only time we ever talk about Bryce Young is just we just mention how awful he was in year one. People tend to forget sometimes rookie quarterbacks are just bad in year one. Like, not everybody is CJ Stroud and comes out and dominates in their first season playing professional football.
It was not all his fault, too.
It was not all his fault. That roster is terrible.
Awful,
so bad. They didn't necessarily get a ton better. I think they added a little bit of line help. They brought in Deontay Johnson, who, is an okay wide receiver.
Yeah, he's fine.
I'd rather have him be a wide receiver too, but he's a serviceable one. Still got Thielen there.
Still someone.
He's there as well.
Those additions though are still improvements.
Yes, they're improvements.
If you're a Carolina fan, obviously you're not going to win a lot of games this year, but you would just like to see some sort of jump from Bryce Young.
Yes, if he looks like 20% better than he did last year, that's like enough, I think, for them to be like, this was a win of a season. Like, just that's the number one thing that every single fan base wants every single year, or like, I mean, eventually you get it and then you don't have to wish for it every year. But I mean, until you get that franchise quarterback, it's just gloomy. Like, as a franchise, it's just really tough because it's so much easier to figure out the other stuff that you got going on with your team. Quarterback though, there's no shortcuts. You have to get a guy. You have to get a guy that can go out there and win games. Yeah, not everybody has to be Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, whatever, Joe Burrow, but there are guys that you can get there and are just good enough where then you can put a roster around them, go win games, and it works out. And until you get that, it's pretty bleak. And that's where the Saints are at right now too. You're kind of just treading water right now with Derek Carr. I don't know what the hell they're playing. I don't know why they haven't tried to get a young quarterback recently. I don't know what are they doing? I don't know. I feel like we haven't really talked about this, but that just kind of now occurred to me. I don't really know what the Saints are doing.
No, at some point you have to go full on.
I think I think now that
they like Spencer Rattler.
They like Spencer Rattler, but
I mean, that just
everybody likes Spencer Rattler in training camp.
Yeah. At some point they're just gonna have to man up and really just say, okay, time to tank, time to get a quarterback. I don't know if it'll be this year. It's not an awful time to do it this year. There's a decent amount of quarterback talent coming out. Do I think they do that? No, but they're just in a weird spot.
Yeah, because if they really committed, to this season, Derek Carr plays well, and it's not the roster around there isn't bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. They could probably go out and win 7-8 games, but it's just what's the point? Because
how long?
Absolutely know that your 100% 1000% ceiling is that. I don't even know if I don't even know if I'd say the playoffs are the ceiling. I don't think they could get there no matter what happens. Because even if
I think they could get there.
If Kirk Cousins were to go down, I still think Tampa Bay would just win the division then. And I think
they're the second favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and I don't see them getting as a wild card.
I would say, if we're talking ceiling, they could get in as that last wild card.
I mean, technically, yes, but I just think
they couldn't win a playoff.
Very low possibility that even that 7th seed seems far-fetched to me. But I don't know. I think Derek Carr had to return to 2016 form, that year that he was in MVP top.
Yeah, he'd have to be very good.
That's the only way.
All right. We spent way too much time.
Yeah, sorry, but I don't know why that occurred to me, but I was just what the hell are the Saints doing? Okay, another game that's just kind of a snoozer. Vikings Giants. Giants, same thing as kind of talking about the Saints. Figure it out. Get rid of Daniel Jones. Get a real quarterback. Start rebuilding the roster. Neighbors though looks fun.
Yep,
maybe that'll be fun.
Yeah, this game's gonna be more of headlines. Okay, Vikings still have a decent roster. Obviously, I think it was trending towards JJ was going to be the guy this year until he went down. So it's okay, well, can we still maybe fight for the division?
Sam Darnold revival year would be awesome to watch, as long as they're still
worse than our team.
So worse than our teams. But if Sam Darnold goes out,
if he balls and
if he goes
they're good, that'll really piss me off.
No. If I would love their defense just be awful, get burnt every single game. But Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison just go out and Sam Darnold throws for 3,800 yards and 35 touchdowns. That would just be hilarious. And then it's the Vikings won 6 games.
It would be funny, but I don't think I could stand the Colin Cowherd twit.
Yeah, that would be awful. That would be so bad. That guy still believes in Sam Darnold, man.
Oh, huge, dude.
I
told you straight out during the draft. I told you guys there's just too much arm talent there.
Yeah, no, he I will say I'm still in the boat that Sam Darnold I think is a serviceable backup and can work in situations like this where if you want to play him for a little bit until your guy's ready, he's probably still good enough to do that.
Yeah,
but
Colin probably one of the better guys.
Cowherd legitimately still thinks I think that Sam Darnold should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And if he had the right opportunity, he'd be top 12.
He'll do the same stuff with Miller Moss. It's just Colin Cowherd. I actually do really like Colin Cowherd. I think he's one of the better in the business. But no, his
USC though homerness gets a little bit much sometimes.
Yeah, but it would truly be really funny if you're right. He goes to 3,800 and has a really good year. Just every single episode is going to be.
Give me the Brock Osweiler. Have him go off. give him a bag, and then it's just like, oh, he's still Sam Darnold.
It would be the funniest team to do that. The Saints.
Yeah, Saints or the Browns. Like, do it again, like the Deshaun Watson. like, please come save our franchise.
Yeah, we'll give you like $250 million guaranteed. And then like he turns into a rapist. That's not funny. But
All right, yeah, Jesus. All right, Raiders and Chargers. Let's move on to that. This game could be a little bit exciting, mostly just for the fact that we kind of get to see the new look Chargers for the first time. Will Harbaugh, truly come out with that traditional Harbaugh look, the just pound the football.
looks like it. I forgot who the guy's name is, but they named their starting fullback.
Oh yeah,
He's
the D lineman,
6'4",
former D lineman,
98. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know the name, but that's a Jim Harbaugh move.
Yeah, no, that should be exciting to watch. And obviously the O-line still got some stuff there. Got Joe out there, football guy. Should be excited to watch him. And then Herbert's obviously still there. Herbert's still really good. I'd just love to see them get him some playmakers now too, but that's just non-existent right now. We got Josh Palmer, Lad McConkey, and Quentin Johnston on the outside. So
it's a nightmare.
Not sure how that's going to work out. Raiders, Minshew Magic. Minshew Magic is back, so that should be fun. He's always very fun in either a very bad or very good way.
Yeah, I'm very.
He is full blown Fitzpatrick. Like, it's just the reincarnation.
Yes,
they just gave us another one.
How much do you think Brock Bowers gets like immediate like production? Like, I think they like just say, okay, well,
I mean, they should, but the whole Raiders, like that whole thing still is weird to me because like Michael Mayer last year was really good as a rookie tight end. And they're just like, let's just go draft Brock Bowers. Like,
I think that means that they're just so high on him.
I mean, yes,
right.
he's a generational tight end talent.
Yes,
but still, it is just weird where it's like there had to have been a team out there that like would have traded you like some type of value for Michael Mayer, right?
Yeah.
Why do you just keep him there? I mean, just you run 2 tight end sets, whatever. Shout out Jackson Mays. I guess 3 tight end sets, but I don't know. It's that thing is still kind of weird to me, but whatever. Not a big deal. I don't really have anything else to say on this game. Do you?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. We should probably start firing through these a little bit. Broncos and Seahawks. This one's not as exciting as it was the last couple of years because, it used to be like the Russell Wilson going back and the trade. So that's not a storyline anymore because that whole thing is over now. But it is the debut of Bo Nix, so that'll be exciting. We'll get to watch him. We talked about it a while ago too. It's like it was really, really funny too that after they named Bo Nix starting quarterback, Zach Wilson's like, watch this, and he went out and just put on a show the last preseason game. But it is Bo Nix, the starting quarterback, so I would get the first real live action look at him. And Seahawks, again, it seems like we're kind of in a run of this right now. Another kind of middling team. I don't really know what the long-term plan is there. They just made the coaching change, so one step at a time. But it's like Geno is not the long-term.
Geno was like really fun for that season, where like he came back, but it's like okay.
But it should have been like, okay, that was a fun year with Geno. Let's draft somebody, and like maybe Geno gives us one more good year than that guy plays.
It was like
they didn't do that.
It's like they were expecting like the honeymoon phase to go like for a lot longer than it should.
Well, it's even if you would have continued to play at like a high level, it still would have been very like people. I don't think people realize how old Geno Smith is.
Yeah, he's very old.
He's been in the league for like over 10 years.
Yeah,
he was 2013.
I think I would imagine. Yeah, I was.
So was that like that EJ Manuel, like Geno Smith, like one of the worst quarterback drafts.
Yeah, because I would have said 12 years, but no. Yeah, Seahawks are in a weird spot. Obviously, new head coach. There's not much to this game. I think we'll look at obviously Seahawks, the new head coach. I'm very actually interested to watch Bo Nix.
I'm interested to just watch the Broncos as a whole because I think I don't know why, but there's something in me that is like is kind of getting this weird feeling that like the Broncos might be kind of like sneaky good this week.
I think Bo Nix is going to be sneaky good.
Yeah, no, that should be exciting. This game, a game between two teams who should be vying for playoff spots all season long. Cowboys and Browns. We just talked about him a little bit. Deshaun Watson, can he somehow find what he once had? Obviously, I don't know. I don't know if he's just been shaking off rust for the last couple of years because like he did go like an entire like year and a half just out playing football, and then he came back, got hurt, got banged up. Maybe there's still some magic left in Deshaun Watson. If he can come back, I mean, pause. Football magic. Maybe he can still come back, be something. I don't know. I think the talent has to still be down there somewhere, but I don't know.
If the talent is down there, I think we would have seen it a little
similar.
I
to
just
Russell
don't think
Wilson
he's
fall
great.
off.
But the weird thing about this game is the fact that Cleveland is the favorite. I get it. That's the weird part to me. So,
but it also like makes me like just want to stay away from it too. Why the hell did Vegas make them the favorite?
Yeah.
So
doesn't make much sense. Obviously, Cowboys, they finally paid everybody. Obviously not Dak, but that's not a big deal.
This is either going to be like a Cleveland wins this game like 13-10, or it's going to be Cowboys win 40 billion to 2. Like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, I feel like it's either like Cowboys just blow them out, or the Cleveland just like
wins like a
claws them to
scrappy,
death. Yeah,
scrappy game.
yeah.
No, I mean, it's a America's game, but I still tend to lean Cowboys here, though.
No, I do too, but I'm just not going to bet it though, because that just scares the hell out of me.
Yep.
Another one here: Commanders, Buccaneers. Same story, kind of with the Broncos, Seahawks. Excuse me. Not a ton to be excited for in terms of like the actual teams in this game. More the players. Jaden Daniels, be fun to see his debut. Let's see. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about. I mean, Baker's still in the Bucs.
Baker's still there. Mike
Still be
Evans
fun.
is still there.
I'm really curious to see what the Bucs do this year.
I think that Bucks, I think the Bucks got shit all year because like they weren't a great divisional winner, shall I say?
Yeah.
But I still think like as we all like, I feel like it keeps leaning towards we just keep like declaring almost like Atlanta's gonna win the division. I still think this team could easily play above their means and take down Atlanta, especially if Atlanta has a little bit of growing pains with Kirk. So that's interesting. And like you said, Jane Daniels, gonna be fun. Gonna have to do a lot though, and I mean a lot for this Commanders team to be worth anything.
Yeah,
I'm also curious to see what Austin Eckler's top speed is going to be this year.
I heard in practice.
12 miles an hour.
I heard practice he's been up to like 11.
Yeah,
So,
talk about washed.
Yeah, bad. Cliff came in a hurry. All right, not much else to talk about in this game. Tampa Bay is favored by 3.5, though, if you're curious. Next one up, we got Weezy's Lions. The battle of the trade boys. We got Goff and Stafford swap.
Part two.
Yeah, no, I know it already happened, but I'll just kind of throwing that out there again. They're back again in Detroit, so Stafford once again gets to come back. Was it in Detroit last time too?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
He got booed, obviously, as he should have. First playoff game in 30 years. He'll get an ovation. He'll get a tribute video. Kelly Stafford will say that people try to kill her kids.
Yeah,
but no, it'll be more than.
Well, they're probably trying to kill her kids while she was like down in the locker room with like the backup quarterback, because that was a wild story that we talked about. That's how you know how dead it was this offseason, was that we talked about the story about Kelly Stafford.
To be fair, that's like breaking. That's like very big headlines.
Well, it was like wild, but at the same time, but it's like
veteran Matthew Stafford's wife speaks on cheating on him
in college
in a podcast because I don't know why.
but still at the same time, like we mostly talk ball here. It's like it seemed very like just I don't know. Almost like too pop culture for us. I know it's still sports related, but like
I don't think so. I mean,
I'm not saying it was like a bad thing, but it's just like it does show though.
No, I think it's
like we
so
talked
funny.
about that. We
it's
talked
so
about that
funny.
for like 5 or 10 minutes.
It was so funny that you had to talk.
Yeah.
It's like, why did you feel the need to say this? Why did you feel the need for all of America to know that?
Yeah, just unprovoked. All right, I don't know why we're talking about it again. What do you think? Give me the synopsis for your Lions and then the Rams.
Rams, I don't know. Bring a lot back. If Cooper Kupp stays healthy, Matthew Stafford stays healthy, I still think they're going to be good. Not great. That defense is really banged up going into the season, which is never good for a team. Detroit, the offense is going to be. I think Detroit hangs 30 points plus on them, and I think that's like the bare minimum with how banged up. Rams lost their starting corner today. He will not be playing. So Detroit will score points. I think it's going to be more so of, okay, is Cooper Kupp healthy? And then 2, Detroit goes out and they completely, beef up their secondary. We'll see if that pans out because their secondary was abysmal last year.
Yeah, no, I don't trust the Rams in like any facet. Like fantasy, I didn't want anything to do with Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, or Cooper Kupp.
They have Cooper on like almost every team. So
if I get it, like if they slide you a little bit, sure, take them. Like obviously you do that with any guy that's slides to you. But like I just did not like them where most people were taking them. They all scare me because like it's like Puka, like yeah, he had a good year, like a really good year,
but
came out of nowhere.
Kupp's fully healthy.
But Cooper Kupp's fully healthy, then like he's still gonna get his target share. And plus, it's like we've seen stuff like this before. Like a guy comes in, like whatever, drafted really low or like undrafted, has like a really good year, and then just falls off the face of the earth. Like Phillip Lindsay, like he was an undrafted running back, came in his rookie year, was a monster, and then just kind of fell off the face of the earth. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Puka, but it's in the back of my mind. Kyron Williams, I don't know, he just gives me a weird feeling.
If he's healthy, he's very good. I do think the biggest issue with him will be Blake Corum.
Yeah,
like we don't know what that like is going to look like. Because if Blake Corum is going to be the bruiser, it's going to be, especially like fantasy football wise,
touchdown.
Kyron's going to have a really tough year, I think. But
So yeah, Lions though, yes, I do think they're very good. I think the Packers and them will be neck and neck for the division, and I think whoever wins the division, will get a very high seed in the playoffs. And I think they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders, and it should be a fun year for you and all Lions fans. So we'll see what happens. Detroit favored by 4.5 in that one. Jets Niners. Niners favored by 4.5. Sunday or Monday Night Football might be a bit of a nightmare, fever dream for Jets fans when they see Aaron Rodgers run out of that tunnel. Hopefully his Achilles stay intact this year. We'll see what happens. Not at MetLife, so that's a good sign. But I mean, the Niners still have the better roster here. They have. I think they have to win the Super Bowl now. They're running out of time. They're starting to pay guys. They're going to pay Purdy eventually.
I think they have a 2-year window.
Yeah,
you have to win.
It's closing quick. They got to get there. And then Jets, obviously, theirs is even smaller. Obviously, they got to get a quarterback, progression plan in place here pretty soon. Be really funny if they would have taken one first round this year, done the Jordan Love to him
2.0.
Yeah, that would have been funny. But
I don't think that one would have pissed him off.
It shouldn't. Definitely shouldn't. I mean, even the Jordan Love,
because then he's like, okay, well, we're gonna. I will be.
I still get the a little bit of anger with the Jordan Love one, but still, it was you were what was he, 37, something like that when they drafted Jordan Love, maybe 36 at the youngest. I feel like you weren't young, Aaron, and you were coming off a little bit of a down year. It was understandable that they drafted him.
Yeah.
Actually, he might have been coming off the MVP year. I actually don't remember, but anyways,
it was definitely the MVP.
It is definitely the MVP year.
Also, though,
you went back to back in 20 and 21, but
yeah, you also can't be mad. You can't just expect a team to ride with you until you are so bad that you have to retire. Because then, again, then you don't have a backup plan.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Jets should be good though. I think if Rodgers stays healthy.
I mean, if you're the Jets, there's just one mission in this game. It's not to win. It's just let's have his body,
stay intact.
Stay intact for this one.
Absolutely. All right, that does it for the NFL previews in terms of just all the games. We'll run one more little commercial here. It's just 1 minute, so stick around. I guess it's technically 69 seconds. Nice. But we'll run that really quick. And then when we come back, we will do rock hard bets and rock hard takes. And then we'll get out of here and let you move on with the rest of your Thursday night as we finish up Chiefs and Ravens here as well. So once again, you'll listen to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs, and we will be right back.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right, welcome back. Rock Hard Ball, Dogs Media Network, College Football Dogs. Another reminder, another shout out, collegefootballdogs.com. Check it out. Plenty of good articles rolling in there every day. Also, again, check out the socials. Make sure you follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's all scrolling across the bottom, so helps us out. Still trying to get the Facebook to 100. That'd be great. So we can actually stream there again. Shout out to our friends at the Golden Boot, though, for allowing us to use theirs when they're not live. Appreciate it. Cousin Jessica's in here. Nice to see you, Jess. Carter with a K. Guess she wanted to make sure you guys all knew that. But thanks for letting me know. All right, let's get into. We'll do bets first. So rock hard bets. I'm just gonna throw them all up there at once because I didn't feel like going through getting them up there one by one. It was just too much work. All right, so here we go. We got college football, NFL, 3 bets each. Oh, I forgot to replace it. My bad. We should have the records on there. It's supposed to be I am 3-2. Weezy's 4-0 because he was a little pussy. Took only one bet first week. Loser. Also, I'm gonna call you out. You did also ride Florida State with me that week, and it lost. I know you didn't say on the show, so we'll give you props there. Well, you're still technically undefeated on the show.
Look,
but you did ride. You did.
I
ride Florida
give
State
my
with me.
picks to the show, right?
Yeah.
That's what I do. What
Yeah.
I do in the dark. That does not
In
have
the
to be brought up.
shadows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I throw a decent amount of money on Florida State minus 16 this week? I did.
Oh, you did it again? I didn't know you did it again. I was talking about week one.
I'm
Week
talking,
one,
I'm talking
I
week
actually
two.
picked on the show,
Week
and then you wrote it with me
week
on the actual
two,
bet.
Me and the roommates were like, all right, let's squad ride. What do we think? My roommate, Drew Johnson, that scumbag was just the most adamant. All right, Florida State minus 16.5. I will say I was kind of with him. I thought like, okay, Florida State's not bad. It'll be a big bounce back week. So no, I mean, I'm not going to count my total betting. What I provide to the people who watch the show, that's all I care about. And I'm 4-0 on the show. So if people tailed me, they'd be making some money.
All right, yeah.
To be fair though, I hate the board this week.
Yeah, it's there were some tough spots. I like a good chunk of mine for the most part. So we'll just kind of get after it. Tulane +9. That's what I have. They're playing K-State. We talked about that game. We do think it'll be a big tester. I do think K-State's going to end up pulling out the win, but I think it's going to be close. I think they only win by, maybe a touchdown at the most. I think, 9 is probably a pretty good line. It'll be close to that, but I don't think they quite get there. And Weezy said it, and I, don't necessarily strongly disagree, but there's definitely a chance that Kansas State could lose that game, outright. So I think Tulane +9, really, really good play. Iowa State money line again against Iowa. I mean, we talked about it. I think that Iowa should win. It's at home, but it's 3-point spread. I like what Iowa State does, and I'm just not convinced on Iowa's offense yet. This is probably the play that I'm most uncomfortable with on my entire board. Is Iowa State money line, but I had to pick one, and that's kind of the one that I want to be a little risky with. I like to pick a couple money lines here and there because I just feel like it's a little bit more true. Got to pick an underdog to win outright here once in a while. So I went Iowa State money line. I feel like that's the best bet on the board in terms of what we had for realistic teams who had a chance of getting it done. And then finally, Nebraska -7. We talked about it. Colorado, Nebraska. I think they are going to dominate that game more than people think. Everybody still thinks Colorado's the darlings, or a lot of people do anyways. Listen, there's some really elite talent there, but I mean, I'll save it. We talked about it enough, but yes, I think Nebraska wins by at least.
I was going to have it, but I didn't because I knew you would have it. And obviously, if we're going to do a season-long records race, picking the same stuff week in and week out,
yeah,
it's
it's
not
tough.
Help us. So
last week we had one, but I mean, we didn't know it beforehand, so
so not a big
we have another
deal
one here. But
my first one here is Maryland -8.5. Despite losing Tulia,
yeah,
it's the same thing. Maryland still was very respectable offensively last week. I thought they were totally fine. And then on the flip side, I don't like Michigan State. I never will.
Yeah,
but watching that game was really bad. FAU is a very bad team. They barely squeaked that one out. I think Michigan State's in for a really rough season. So I think Maryland at home, I'll take the 8 points any day. Kansas State, Tulane. I want to take Tulane +9. Didn't scream like I don't have any analytics to back this up. Just going off vibes feels like an over game. I think 47 is too low. And then obviously we already talked about this one a lot. Michigan +7.5. Again, I'm a Michigan fan. I'm not saying Michigan's going to win the game. I simply just think from like a Vegas standpoint, I think 7.5 is way too big.
Yeah. No, the KSU like Tulane too. Like I'll kind of backing that up. I feel like anytime you see a game that's under 50, but it's like two offenses who are like solid offenses and neither defense is elite. That just feels off. I get why every single game that Iowa plays is in the 40s or sometimes even the 30s. But a game like this, Kansas State, I think they're expected to kind of ride the offense this year with Avery Johnson, Tulane, group of 5 team that I think once again is expected to kind of ride the offense a little bit. I don't really understand. The 9-point spread maybe says it a little bit. Maybe they think Kansas State's just going to get up big and then you'll just kind of run out.
I also when I look at games, I try to I don't look at the spreads right away. I'm thinking of what it's going to be like. I thought, okay, this game probably is it's going to be low to mid 50s. So I saw the 47.
No, it screams 54.5.
Yeah, when I saw the 47.5, I have to take this over.
Yeah, no good pick. All right, let's get to NFL. So I got Falcons -3.5. We talked about it a little bit earlier when we were previewing the game, but I mean, again, huge upgrade at quarterback. The offense is going to be much better. I like Raheem Morris as the coach. They got playmakers on the offense. The defense is solid as well. You got AJ Terrell right over there locking down one side of the field, so he should probably take care of George Pickens. And I just don't know or trust what's going to happen with the Steelers offense. So I think the Falcons should pull that game out and cover the points.
You said it.
Texans -3. Listen, I like the Colts. I think they're exciting. But I think that the Texans are still kind of in a different league versus the Colts. They've got some more experienced playmakers on that team. So, I think that they should be able to win that game by at least a field goal. And then finally, Packers money line. It's maybe a little bit of a homer pick, but I do still like the chances to go down there to Brazil. Technically, they're on the road, and they're whatever, a road dog, quote unquote. But it's a neutral site game, and I don't know. I just playing with my, betting with my heart a little bit here, maybe betting with my feelings. But I truly do think that they're going to win tomorrow night. I'm excited for the game. I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Packers can be able to pull it out. So.
Yep. And going down my list, I'm not even going to hit on the Falcons. You already did it for me. Cardinals plus 6.5 is definitely like my most scary bet, I would say. But I've said it all year. I'm not that high in the Bills. I think who they've lost it's going to be a lot bigger than people think. And then also, it's more even so Arizona. Like I think they could like have a sneaky top 10 offense in the league. So I think it's gonna be a rough week, first week for Buffalo, and I do think the Cardinals can win this game outright. I think Buffalo's an upset watch week 1, and then Lions. They're gonna cost both homers, but I don't really care. Detroit's gonna score a whole lot of points, and I just don't think the Rams are gonna be able to score as much to keep up with them.
Yeah, no, I like the picks you have as well. I think you made good points for the both of them. I will say too with the Cardinals. I know I'm maybe too high on the Bills. Like I've said a little bit, but I still think that they're a solid team. However, you make a really good point. Like I think that week 1 is just gonna be kind of a tough adjustment to kind of see what happens. I'm gonna pause. Kansas City's up by a touchdown here with 14 seconds left. Ravens at 1st and goal. Lamar goes to the end zone and incomplete, overthrown. And Isaiah likely maybe got caught in the nuts or something. He's kind of rolling around there. All right, 10 seconds left. Anyways, but yeah, I like the Cardinals to maybe knock them off week 1 there. I think the Bills will still get done like 10-7, probably like that. Probably get in the playoffs, but I think it will be a little rocky to start the year for sure. Last segment, we'll go to Rock Hard Takes as we kind of finish up this Chiefs game here. We kind of picked a Rock Hard Takes segment last minute, so I don't even have a graphic for it, unfortunately. But what did we decide on? Snacks? Okay, yeah. So like what kind of snacks we talking? Like Sydney Sweeney or like...
Okay.
Just kidding.
Own up, folks.
But yeah, just straight up, just like how snacky like are we getting? Like what's because like
snack food?
Just okay.
Snacks.
Just anything.
Yep.
No holds. All right, who has one? You, right?
No. You. What did we do last one? I'm almost positive because
yeah, you're right. I
did nephews. Then what was the one after that?
Acceptable times for man to cry.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Wait. No. Then I have first pick because you went first and you did a funeral first pick. I know that.
What did we have in between there?
I don't know.
All right, I don't know what the hell happened. Go ahead. You get first pick.
Okay, so I have first pick. People are probably going to say this is too early. Don't care. It's the best snack in the game. I'm going to go with the honey mustard dots pretzels.
Okay, good pick.
It's the best snack.
Shout out North Dakota. Shout out Velva, North Dakota. That's where they're made. Why not? North Dakota's awesome, dude.
All right, fair.
Check it out.
They make a great pretzel.
Yeah, they do. All right, number 2 here. I'll go with a classic. I'm gonna go. I'll make it specific so that maybe if you want to go another route later, it's not completely ruled out. But I'll go chips and queso. It's one of my favorites to just sit down with jar of queso, bag of chips. You can just eat them forever. They're really good. For some reason, that seemed to be like kind of like my go-to. For some reason, after like high school sporting events, was like a grilled like turkey, ham, cheese sandwich and like chips and queso. And then I kind of dipped the sandwich in the queso a little bit too. So little sight into the after game life of Carter. Ravens are going to go for it here on 2nd and goal. Mar fires end zone and
missed a wide open
Zay Flowers back to the end zone. So 4 seconds now. Ravens are going to have one last chance to go for the end zone on 3rd and goal. And I have another pick here in this. So let me think of something. Okay, I'm going to go with one that actually might be a really uncommon pick, but a little bit of a healthier choice here. Not super healthy, but maybe a little healthier. I'm going to go grapes. I love grapes. I know. I'm going. It's personal takes here. These are my rock hard takes, not everybody else's rock hard takes. I'm going grapes. I love sitting down with a bowl of grapes and just eating some grapes. So that's what I'm going with.
You just drafted an undrafted. You just drafted a guy in the 2nd round who should have been undrafted.
Well, did you hear what I said? My
Yeah.
takes.
Yes.
I like eating grapes.
And your takes are really piss poor right now. I can't believe you're going to give me
I'm
one
trying to
and
watch.
two here.
Oh my God, he got it. Did he get his feet down?
He did. By the
All right,
way,
Ravens scores. Time expires.
By the way, Isaiah Likely is my tight end 3 on our Delt Fantasy League. He has 34 points.
What?
Yeah.
He's 34?
Yeah, he caught a 52-yard touchdown.
Oh, geez.
He's gotten way more reps than Mark Andrews. I don't know what to do now. If anybody's in the chat who knows, his toe may have been on the white there.
Yeah, it definitely was. Also, I guess while we have this kind of lull, Jess didn't go to the Chiefs game this weekend. For one, Ryan didn't text me. And for two, I have work, so I wouldn't be able to go anyways. So there you go. Would have loved to go, though.
Not a touchdown.
I'll try and get down to one eventually. And yeah, not going to be a touchdown. So shout out to the Chiefs. Shout out to my Uncle Brian, my cousin Jess, big Chiefs fans. So Chiefs are going to get done here in week 1. The quest for the three-peat starts. And yeah. All right. You want to go with your pick next?
Yeah, I have 2. I'll go Doritos and then Goldfish.
Okay. So just individual. Okay. I wasn't really thinking like individual brands, but yeah, that's good. Probably a good point. Okay. Well, then in that case, I'm going to go with, I'll go with the Frito-Lay's honey barbecue twists.
Okay.
Those are banger chips. I'm trying to think of like outside the realm of chips because feels like it's really dominating this draft.
Yeah.
Can this count as a snack, like an Uncrustable?
I'll give it to you because your draft has been so piss poor. I'll give it to you.
You were hating on grapes way too much. Grapes are
well,
bomb.
I'm just saying if we post just like side by side graphic.
Yeah, people are gonna say like, yeah, oh, grapes, boo, it's a fruit. Grapes are good. They're sweet.
They're fine.
Kind of pop in your mouth.
They're not a poll winner.
I don't care about the polls.
Okay.
I care about me.
All right.
You think Trump and Kamala care about the polls, or you think they're trying to win? I'm just trying to win my personal validation. I don't know.
I think they do.
They probably do care about the polls. Yes, a lot. But yeah, go ahead.
So let's go through our. So far, I have Dots, Doritos, Goldfish.
Yeah, and I have chips and queso. Well, so it's tortilla chips and queso.
Everybody knows
grapes. I was just clarifying because you're trying to get all specific on me. Grapes and the Frito-Lay's honey barbecue twists. I should have one more then.
You have one more.
Yeah. Uncrustables. I took Uncrustables.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I have 2 more to finish it off.
Yeah. And then I have one.
I'm gonna go with Gushers, and then the like the little baby Rice Krispie treats.
Okay. Yeah. 2 really good picks there. Do you have, how many cavities do you have?
As soon as you said I was waiting for that. Do you have type 2?
Yeah. Christ. Okay.
They're called snacks. It's the best snacks. I'm not eating Rice Krispie treats all day.
Well, I think snacks, I'm thinking like kind of snacking on them, you know?
Yeah, I'll snack on Goldfish, snack on Doritos.
I guess like Uncrustable, you're not necessarily like snacking on.
No.
But yeah. All right. Okay, so I got one more here. Go with let's go with like a little throwback here. Let's go with just the classic, the Lunchable. Little after school snack.
Red flag might have to come out on that one.
No, not count it. That's fine.
That's a meal for a kid.
All right, yeah. I'll come up with something else.
Like I'm not snacking on that. Like I'm just eating that.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. String cheese.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a banging snack. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
How do you eat that, by the way?
Peel.
Okay. I know.
Do you chop it?
No, but I was gonna say I know psychopaths who do.
Yeah,
it's gone in 2 bites
straight to jail.
Those are people that we need to check up on.
No,
like hey, is everything all right?
Put them on a watch list. Yeah. Put them on a watch list. That's concerning. Yeah,
2 bites and it's gone. Like, geez, save it.
Yeah, no, that is ridiculous.
Another great cheese snack is the I don't know, the bar, like the Bell, like you know that.
Oh, Baby Bell.
Yes,
yeah,
those things are great too.
Yeah. All right, let's do this really quick, I guess, before we leave. Chiefs and Ravens. Let's talk about it. Recap it a little bit.
Well, didn't really watch the second half. So
yeah, no, it was kind of tough, but we'll at least like kind of hit the stats for anybody who kind of wants them. Chiefs went 27-20. Mahomes went 20 for 28, 291 yards, touchdown and a pick. Lamar 26 for 41, 273 and a touchdown. He also had 122 yards on the ground. Pacheco had 15 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Worthy had that 21-yard run for the touchdown. Reishi had a good game. Didn't catch any touchdowns. 7 catches, though, and 103 yards. Worthy did some work in the receiving game as well. 2 grabs for 47 yards and a touchdown. As Weezy mentioned, top guy for the Ravens was Isaiah Likely. 9 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. Lamar did have a fumble that was lost. So, turnover by each of the star quarterbacks in this one. But I guess let's more talk about, what this kind of means for these teams, because we didn't watch the second half closely.
No,
we're not going to lie. We're not going to sit here and act like we know what happened in the game exactly. But obviously the Chiefs once again find a way to get it done. They haven't been great in season openers and, just early in the season in general in the past few years. But the quest for the three-peat starts now. They came out, got the job done against a team that's going to be, they're both going to be running to get that bye. Obviously, like we kind of talked about in the preview, we don't really think the Chiefs maybe necessarily care greatly about that bye, but it is still a valid start to get things going, and it's still valuable. Like it's
100%.
Still, you're not going to not want the bye.
No, I don't think either team lost this game by any means. I mean, obviously Baltimore would love to be 1-0 right now. If you're Kansas City, you're thrilled. Xavier Worthy looked dynamic out there.
I think that's by far the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, his speed does kill.
They make somehow the Chiefs got scarier tonight.
Yes.
I don't know how. But they did.
And then the other storyline is I'm sure it's mostly because Mark Andrews isn't fully healthy, but a little weird that he is playing and Isaiah Likely was without question their number 1 guy in the field tonight.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a storyline that will probably keep going.
I will say the one really thing that's going to haunt Baltimore in this one that we saw at the end there, Lamar missing Zay Flowers, who had open. Probably 10 yards of space all around him.
Isaiah Likely wearing a shoe size too big.
Yeah. Maybe half a shoe size. That was close, right on the white. So, but yeah, congrats to the Chiefs. 3-peat starts now. Nobody's 3-peated since ever. The Packers technically had the last 3-peat, but it's not really a true one. They won Super Bowls 1 and 2, and they won the last NFL championship before the Super Bowl. That's technically the only 3-peat. Doesn't really count though. I know. But yeah, we'll see if the Chiefs can do it. I don't know. What do you think? Do they have a good shot?
I mean, they could do it. I mean, I'm not going to say they have a good shot. It's fucking hard.
I mean, they're the favorites.
It's hard to win a Super Bowl.
They're the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
They're favorites. It's hard to win a Super Bowl. Do I do it? It's way too early for me to say they will do it or they will not do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just want to kind of throw that out there. See if you maybe want to make a little prediction there. But okay, that's probably going to do it. Chiefs are as scary as ever. Ravens will be back though. They'll be good all year. Looked like Lamar had a good game. Just looking at the box score, I know box score Warriors are the worst. I hate that, but I just didn't get to watch the second half. So from what I can see, though, it sounded like he still played well. That'll do it for today, though. Once again, this has been Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Again, make sure to check out all the socials there, scrolling across the bottom, at Rock Hard Ball or at Rock Hard Ball Pod on all the social platforms. Make sure you check out collegefootballdogs.com. And for Karter and Weezy, this will do it. We'll be back on Monday, recapping week 1 of the NFL. We'll have Monday Night Football going during that episode with Jets and Niners. We'll recap week 2 in college football. And then we're getting closer and closer to conference play now in college football. So that should be fun. And let's hope when we come back, Michigan knocked off number 3 Texas and Nebraska throttled Colorado. So, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Have a good weekend.
Let's have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.